Teresa, thank you so much for stopping in and joining me on this beautiful Sunday. Happy Sunday to you if you're seeing this live stream as it's going live. If you're watching it later in the replay, no worries, it's all good. But I hope you did have a beautiful Sunday. I'm going to wait just a few moments here for some folks to come in, and then we'll get locked and loaded. For those that have been waiting for my other channel, Anunnaki Oracle Priestess, I have set that channel up. I thought I was going to be able to live stream on it by now, but YouTube said otherwise. I did get a change in the message today, though, that said that within 24 hours from now, I should be able to live stream. So hopefully, I did say out of my mouth that I would live stream. I would do a minimum of 3 days of mini readings on the channel once I'm able to live stream, though. So I may have to move the calendar back a little bit, but that will still happen. So as soon as I'm able to live stream there, I will. I am in the process of uploading some stuff on this channel right now. There are 2 uploads that hopefully will be active or in premiere before this live stream ends. So there's a good conversation, kind of a continuation of a conversation from yesterday's live stream that I spoke about earlier, on that video, and then I went a little further into the book of Enoch as well. Hey, Shawty, what's up? Welcome, welcome. Good evening, good evening. Happy Sunday to you, my love. What's good? I'm trying to see who else is here. Don't be shy, y'all. 2 folks left, but whoever else is in here, don't be shy. Let's see what's going on. Oh, you did? Awesome. I'm happy for you. I am happy for you. Congratulations on your new job. Hopefully, I'll be able to tell y'all the same thing next week. I don't know. Maybe not. I'd rather get run over by some numbers, but however that goes. Because honestly, even if I get a new job, I don't know how I'm going to balance this and another job. I know I waste more time than I should, but if I'm mentally fried from 8 or 9 hours at a workplace, I don't know when I'm going to actually find time to come home, do my personal readings for folks, and then do readings for the channel and jump on live stream as well. So I need the income of a job, but I cannot honestly say I want one. I kind of need to want one, but I would much rather somehow the money could just magically show up for me to be able to catch up my bills and survive with and really focus on this. So, yeah. Well, shoot, please email me, Shawty, and let me know where you're working from home for and if they're still hiring, if they got a referral program. Because I worked, you're pharmacy tech? Okay. I worked from home for the last couple years, but I was in customer service. I was a supervisor for a credit card in the fraud department. Now, I definitely don't want to work as a fraud supervisor no more. That's super stressful. You just basically placating angry people all day. But I would like another work from home position. Yeah. Hey, Bro 100, welcome. And hey, Weston, how are you? Welcome in, welcome in. And Shawnee Gothic TV, welcome to you too. Peace to you as well. Thank you. Oh, you looking too, Brittany? Okay, so we'll all have to kind of stay on top of that. Yeah, I done got to where I used to look at the channels here that announced them, but they got so many people in their following till by the time the video airs, the position's being closed already. So I don't even. Do I advise people to travel abroad if they can find a safe place to go? Sure, why not? Look, and I get it. People want to live in fear and all the rest of that stuff, but they've been spouting some version of that my entire life. Now, obviously, you do have to check on the particular destination that you're looking at if it's politically safe. But if it's safe, why not travel? And especially, there's more and more people that are finding their place. If you have the money, you talk about, do I recommend somebody to do that? Okay, cool, cool, cool. I appreciate you, Shawty. Do that, please. But Shawnee Gothic, I'm trying to get out the country myself. I want to be living as an expat. I have some place to go in Japan, family, and I also technically have some place to go in Ghana. So truthfully, if I had the money to do it, I would be in Japan. When my visa runs out in Japan, I'd jump over to Thailand or Bali or somewhere for a little bit and then come back to Japan, maybe bounce over to Ghana, come back to Japan, go travel wherever. Whenever my visa runs out, go and take a side trip somewhere, start travel vlogging, get monetized doing that. And it would be some time before I ever came back. I mean, I probably travel back to the States occasionally to see my children and grandchildren, maybe, or meet them up in the middle somewhere. But if I had the money to travel like that, I'd be out of the US. We would be doing this from someplace else. I'd still be doing this, but I wouldn't be sitting in the US doing it. KJ, yeah. Energy is only transferred. Our relatives are not gone anywhere. Not really. I mean, they may not be directly around you, but their energy is still around. However that works. I can't give you all the blueprint because I was kind of slept on that class a little bit. We none of us can really prove that, but there are so many people that have evidence or have connections with people, and honestly the ones that really make me believe that that's true are children. There are so many children that have been caught on camera speaking to relatives. They come from a pure place. They're not manipulating that. They just, children can see through the veil more easily than we can, and they haven't had their belief systems in fully installed yet to put doubt in their mind when that's happening. So they communicate very easily and very clearly, oftentimes, with our loved ones that have passed on. Um, no. I don't want to, but that's the problem, Weston. I don't want to find a job in Japan. I want to be my own. I want to get established doing what I'm doing between social media, making my candles and skin products and whatever I'm doing so that I have my own income. I do not want to have to go to, I'm 57 years old with bad knees. I don't want to have to go nowhere and go and swipe in at a job. That would take the fun out of traveling for me. I'm at a point where I'm sick and tired of the corporate world. I'm ready to do my own thing. And again, I don't know how that's going to happen, but I also have to understand that it can happen anyway. There are plenty of folks out here that are paid to just be them, to pay to exist. Yeah, Shawty, I haven't made any in a minute, but I do. I make candles, and I was considering making a line of Reiki infused candles, taking I use like the little crystal, the stone chunks and stuff, and I will take the stones, clear them in salt and everything, and then take them on the full moon and the new moon and meditate with them under the moon, infuse intentions and all in them, and make like healing candles and things like that. So far, I mean, I've given some of them away, but so far I just make them for personal use. But I have considered starting to make them as a source of income because, I mean, like I said, I don't have the means to set up and do Reiki on humans per se, but like I said, I don't have to have a massage certificate to do Reiki on inanimate objects. Okay, headlines before you leave, please. How you doing? Love that you're here, my love. Please check your email. I have sent your reading to you like 12 days ago. It's been sitting in YouTube and it has not been viewed yet. So if you have a problem with that, check your email and make sure you can open that reading. If not, please shoot me an email so I can send it again. But I've been trying my best to get your reading to you. So yeah, and definitely go feed your family. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Hey, Nilla B. But yeah, Shawty, I make candles. I make like the little bracelets and stuff, little crystal. I was thinking about doing that, making basically Reiki infused bracelets. Or truthfully, I could even buy those even pre-made and infuse them with my own healing energy and intention. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna do that yet, but I may actually set up like a spiritual whatever one you email me with in Gmail, what should I use? I got a pen here if I need to use something else. just let me know or email me with the one you want me to send it to, and I can resend it as soon as the live stream is over. But it's like the last one of the readings that I had that was just been sitting out there and sitting out there. And like I say, it's been uploaded to the channel for 12 days now. Hey Karen, and hey Fire Angle, how are you? Welcome in, welcome in. Oh yeah, Brittany. If once Shorty emails me, I'll go ahead and forward it to you, so you don't have to put your business out there if you don't want to. Felicia, okay, I will. Let me write that down because that's probably not what was there, but I'm gonna write it down right now. So thank you, and then you can retract the message if you don't want your stuff out there for long. And when the live stream is over, I will email that to you, dear. Thank you so much. All right. Oh, you say it's public? Okay. I know that's right. All right. Thank you so much, my dear. I will get that to you, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your evening with the family. If you get some downtime and are able to duck back in, please feel free to join us. But I know how that goes. So, yeah. What we got? Yeah, I love animals. I don't have any right now, but you asked them, do I like dogs or cats? I'm more I was more of a dog person, but recently I think I'm more of a cat person. I love both of them, but my daughter and her girl had cats. She had a dog too, but I mean, I'm in a situation, my living situation right now. I wouldn't bring a dog into a condo scenario because I'm old school and country. I love dogs, but what I ain't gonna do is be walking down the street picking up poop. I'm just not finna do that. So yeah. Matthew came in acting a fool already. All right. I'm not doing tarot tonight, Karen. I once if you join Anunnaki Oracle Priestess, once I'm able to go live on there, and I got a message today saying that it would happen within 24 hours. But once I'm able to go live, I did say that I would do like a minimum of 3 days of mini free readings. If you're able to catch me there, I can pull some cards and look at it if you like. But I don't know. If you strongly suspect that he is, usually your spidey sense ain't wrong. And honestly, if I'm just saying, again, I don't know when it's going to happen, Karen. I thought it would be able to already because I got it set up on Friday, but YouTube has not released the channel to allow me to live stream yet. I have enough subscribers at this point, but it still has not opened the ability for me to do that. So unless or until YouTube, they said it would be within 24 hours. I got that notification today, but they had said I thought that would have been already because I set everything up and hit my 50 subscribers and all of that on Friday, and I still can't go live. So I don't know. I didn't even see what he said, but that's all good. Weston, are you able to mod for me? If you like to, I can make you a mod. Okay, thank you for your patience with that, Karen. If I start doing tarot tonight, it'll get all out of whack. So in the evenings, we just don't. We don't. Yeah, that's, but like Shorty said, it by the time your spidey sense go off and cause you to answer the question, 9 times out of 10, it is what you think it is most of the time. But we can still take a look at the cards if you want when we get to that point. But yeah. All right, Weston, you are officially a moderator now. So yeah. Honestly, whether they're actually cheating or not, and again, I guess because I done dealt with such sorry behind men in the past, whatever you got going on that's honestly causing you to question your reality that way, whether he's actually cheating or not, he probably ain't worth a damn and need to be on somebody else's roster. You say you'll behave. No, you ain't, but it's all good. But yeah, y'all, one of the videos that I uploaded today, it did look like it finally finished uploading to the channel. I did a few more chapters in the book of Enoch, and then I had some conversations, and oddly enough, it was kind of picking up. I went through and I fell asleep listening to the replay of last night's live, and I had forgotten. We got to a point where we were discussing, I had mentioned Genesis 18, and then somebody came in with something else. Yeah, we will. We put you in timeout. I had mentioned Genesis 18, and then somebody else went off on something else, so we got distracted. And I was talking about somebody had mentioned the fact. Oh, cool. Yeah. And honestly, that's one of the reasons I do try to stay track. And sometimes, I mean, some of them, I'm not going to tell you I listen to every single replay, but I do remember, something hit me in the back of my head. And I was like, there was some stuff we were talking about and we got sidetracked. And I went back and I was able to catch it because somebody had asked a question about Yahweh writing the 10 Commandments with his finger. And I was going to go back into and read part of the attestation of Andupsar for the Lost Book of Enki, which I am so glad that I did. And we can go and take a look at it again now if y'all want to, because I had missed something when I read that the first time. Andupsar, the scribe who actually wrote the Lost Book of Enki, I mean, Zechariah Sitchin translated it, but it was dictated by Enki, written by Andupsar, and Andupsar is the son of Adapa. So basically, he's not only was he the scribe who wrote the Lost Book of Enki, he was Enki's grandson because Adapa and Titi were the first civilized pair after Adam and Eve, and they were the children of dawn and dusk, directly sired by Enki. Well, here's the thing, or as a rabbi, and remember what we were talking about yesterday? You said you need a personalized iguanti so you can slumber, Pro 100. You go get one, don't worry about it. But that was the thing that I was talking about yesterday, how Paul, I have a problem calling him Apostle Paul. That's just a ludicrous lie. But anywho, Paul set Christians up for failure because Paul is the one that declared that the law is fulfilled in Christ and that Christians no longer have to obey the Mosaic Law. Now, that may very well be true. However, it really ain't. Not if you plan to serve Yahweh Jehovah in any manner that he's pleased with. And we know he's very, very exacting. Oh, I'm going to get back to it because I got my little notes here so I won't get sidetracked. But I was just going to answer this part with the commandments first. But yeah, Yahweh told, or it was common practice back then because again, that's how they set the folk when Diana was violated in the scriptures. That's how they set that her people. I mean, the people who violated her, the men that came into that camp. That's how they set them up for failure, because it was known you could become a spiritual Israelite, but in order to become a spiritual Israelite, you had to follow all the same rules that fleshly Israelites followed. And so, in order to make peace after the man violated Diana, the councils got together, and in order to make peace and atonement for her being violated, now she probably, again, I hate to blame the victim, but from that account, from what I understand, I think she bopped her ass up where somewhere she ain't had no business, and she got violated because she was amongst some people that was kind of known to be not really as protective of the Israelites as they should have, and so she was violated. They went the two groups of men got together. They trying to make peace and atonement, and the Israelites told them that they would accept their apology, but in order for them to become spiritual Israelites, they all had to be circumcised, and all of those men agreed to it. And while they was laid up on their sick bed from being circumcised, the Israelites came through and slaughtered all of them. It's disgusting. But that's the kind of behavior that Yahweh's people do. Because Yahweh act like that. But that principle of having to keep the same laws that the Israelites keep follow through. So as if you really want to please Yahweh, you don't have 10 commandments, you do have 613, because you would have to keep the entire Mosaic Law, which they done already said is impossible to keep. So basically everybody that try to worship Yahweh is screwed. But Paul doubly made it worse, because even if you got rid of the bulk of the Mosaic Law, you ain't got to go dig your latrine, and you ain't got to sequester your menstruating women and all that other good stuff. The 10 Commandments could not be absolved, because it says that those stand from time immemorial. In fact, according to the story, those were nailed to the cross, supposedly. They cannot be just absolved because we want to. The 10 Commandments stand forever. And thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. But it says, thou shalt keep my holy days unto me holy. Christians don't keep the Passover, and Yahweh specifically told the Jews that they were to keep the Passover from now until the end of time. So if Christians are not out there, they got their little Easter celebration with their little chicken eggs, or ducks just laying chicken, and rabbits laying chicken eggs, and their little maypole celebrations to a star, all the fertility rituals and stuff that they come up with around this pagan festival holiday of the resurrection story, Easter and all that, to Astara. But then what about the Passover? I don't see them slaughtering no lambs or goats and putting the blood over the door. They not wearing their leather sandals and eating bitter greens and consuming that lamb all in one night like Yahweh instructed them to do. They're not taking the leaven out of their homes and eating only unleavened bread for an entire week like Yahweh told them to do. And let's not get started on the Sabbath. I can't speak Spanish, my dear. I'm sorry. I have no idea what you said, but whatever. How many do you have? That's just rude. How many you gonna pay for me to get filled? Because Lord knows I do need some dental work. I was unfortunate. I'm old enough. I grew up in a small town with fluoridated water, and my mouth is raggedy as a bowl of sauerkraut. So if you got some money that you want to pay for me to have dental work done, I'd be more than happy to have it done. Other than that, sit down and shut up. Sorry, but anywho, um, but yeah, at the end of the day, we're supposed to be keeping Sabbath, not just the Saturday Sabbath. And again, Christians shot themselves in the foot with that, because Nero or whichever one of the Roman emperors turned around and moved Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday. Yahweh never told them to do that. Saturday is the Sabbath. And then there's a weekly Sabbath, there's a monthly Sabbath, and an annual Sabbath. And then there's a Sabbath year that happens every 50 years. Christians don't keep none of them. So there's no way that they could be pleasing to Yahweh, period. They might as well, Yeshua told them their prayers go no higher than the ceiling. Well, he was talking to the Pharisees and the Sadducees at that point. But then he did come back later and was talking to the Jews when he said, in that day, you'll come to me and say, Lord, Lord, didn't we perform many powerful works in your name and expel demons in your name and all the rest of that? And he said, and yet I'll say to you, I never knew you. Get away from me, you workers of evil. Hey, Douglas, how are you? Ain't seen you in a minute. You had 6 wisdom teeth? Oh, my goodness. I don't even know how you had room in your head for all of that. I had to have mine removed because they were coming in sideways and pushing so intensely against the other teeth that I was having headaches you would not believe. And my head already big enough as it is, but my face was almost twice the size it was. I had to go in. They had to surgically remove my wisdom teeth. But anywho, so yeah, that whole issue of Paul releasing the Christians from the law, I just find that laughable. Christians have no idea what they're doing. They follow Paul right off into the pits of hell, and thank goodness it ain't no burning hell. But like I said, choosing to listen to Paul has every single Christian in a position where there's no way under the sun they could possibly be pleasing to Yahweh. Oh wow. Yeah, I would imagine. Now, on to the thing about Genesis. I made the statement because Yahweh said nobody can see his face and yet live. But he made an exception so that he could go to a picnic. Well, the picnic was for him, but still, like I say, for want of something to eat, he made an exception. Genesis chapter 18. And the Lord appeared to him by the oaks of Mamre as he sat at the door of his tent in the heat of the day. He lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, 3 men were standing in front of him. When he saw them, he ran from the tent door to meet them and bowed himself to the earth and said, O Lord, if I have found favor in your sight, do not pass by your servant. Let a little water be brought and wash your feet and rest yourselves under the tree while I bring a morsel of bread, and you may refresh yourselves, and after that you may pass on, since you have come to your servant. So they said, do as you have said. And Abraham went quickly into the tent to Sarah and said, quick, 3 seahs of flour, knead it, and make cakes. And Abraham ran to the herd and took a calf, tender and good, and gave it to a young man who prepared it quickly. Then he took curds and milk and the calf that he had prepared and set it before them, and he stood by them under the tree while they ate. Hey, Chawanda, how are you? Welcome. Happy Sunday to you and a blessed week to you too, my dear. But right here, if he's supposedly the Alpha and the Omega, this non-corporeal sky daddy whose visage is so elaborate that his radiance, his glory is so great that if we actually were to see him, we would die, instantly combust and explode, according to him. How is it that he walking down the road with his 2 messengers and waited under the tree long enough for them to go slaughter a lamb, cook it and prepare it, and for Sarah to go and make bread from scratch? And they sat down and ate the thing and got their feet washed. What feet? You supposed to be Sky Daddy. You shouldn't have no feet, and it certainly shouldn't be dusty. But he's a dusty liar. I don't know. That's the one part. Like I said, I had completely missed that. And it was oddly enough a Christian apologist. I was looking for something else and found that and saw it in the scriptures. And I was like, I'll be damned, he did. He sat there and said nobody could see him, but he showed up it right there in the flesh, right here in the Bible. Hey, Iron Butterfly, how are you? So yeah, I thought that was really, really interesting. And so then he turned around after he done ate and everything. He said, I'll surely return to you. He said, where is Sarah, your wife? He said, she's in the tent. And the Lord said, and surely I'll return to you about this time next year, and Sarah, your wife, will have a son. Now, honestly, they don't tell you a lot in here, But that really made me think he showed up in the physical. I guarantee you that's around the time that Sarah got pregnant too. Yahweh finally had to get over his disgust and impregnate Sarah, because he wasn't a geneticist. He didn't know how to go and do the artificial insemination and the in vitro fertilization and all the rest of that stuff. He would have actually had to impregnate her. Oh, thank you, Brittany. I appreciate you. Hey, Michael Ellis, how are you? Welcome, welcome. I definitely, like I said, this stuff be tripping me out though. So when I see stuff like that, I don't have no choice but to share it, because as old as I am and as long as I've been reading this stuff, it slipped past me too. So I can't sit there and say, oh, y'all should know that. No, I missed it too. Hey, Nicole, welcome, welcome. The other part that I wanted to look at, was this revel we talked about it yesterday, but I had to go back and look at it again because that was kind of mind-blowing too. As much as I've been in the Gospel of John and in Revelation over the past 6-7 months, I still had kind of missed this part. Hey, Stephanie Heath, how are you? Hey, Renee Amato. I absolutely do know Yeshua, Renee. If you come in here with that foolishness, I'm trying to tell you, my mods will get rid of you quick. Do you know him? And do you know what you think you know, or do you really know him? Because if you come in here spouting Christian rhetoric, that tells me you don't really know him. That's the entire focus of what I talk about here. Yeshua is one of my main guides, and I am here to pick up his mantle where he left off and continue with the message that he was attempting to bring to the Jews that they unalived him for, and they never did get it. They still, to this day, don't get it. Hey, Stephanie. I'm trying to take it easy. I just wanted to ask her. I don't know what she said because they got rid of her too quick for me to be able to see it. She'll be back maybe. But honestly, Stephanie, if they come in here sideways like that, that tells me number one, she ain't even been on here long enough to find out what I'm talking about. She just came in here and start running her mouth. Because I've literally been reading directly from the Bible for the last 15 minutes. So she didn't even bother to hear what I had to say. She just coming in here to be like a clanging cymbal. What that group? Yeshua say like a banging brass. She's coming in here to detract. She's not coming in here to learn nothing. So in that respect, I really don't have to take it easy on her. But when she come back from time out, if she know how to act, she's more than welcome to stay and ask a question if she like. Yeah, they are kind of sort of like that. But I know they don't know no better, but they still can't be allowed to be but so divisive, because there are people here that are genuinely interested in learning. They don't need no church fanatic in here yelling at them, telling them about Jesus is Lord and you got to repent or you going to die and all that other nonsense that Christians. First of all, that is such an arrogant thing. You bounce up in somebody's live stream. How do you know I'm Christian? I'm not. Never told nobody I was. So who the heck is she to come in there spouting about, do I know Jesus? That's really not none of her business. She need to know, do she know him? That's all she need to do. Hey, Sai CC, how are you? You say you come back from talking with Deep Seek when you hear me responding? Okay. You say you was one of them? Well, I mean, and again, anybody, I don't hold grudges. I'm not angry. If somebody is genuinely wanting to learn, regardless of their belief system, they're welcome to stay here, but they're not welcome to try to take over, proselytize, or confuse what we're talking about. We're just not. I can't allow that, because what I'm talking about is very specific, it's very delicate points of scripture. If I allow the same kind of nonsense that's been misleading people for 2,000 years to creep into here, then I'm continuing to allow lies to be perpetuated. So I can't. I'm doing very well, Cece. Well, but that's just it. They ain't got no business in here trying to recruit my students. Go recruit down at the church house or whatever, because that's the thing. YouTube is free. Anybody can make a channel. So if they've got something they really want to get off their chest, or they feel like they got a ministry or a message, they could create their own channel and go live and say pretty much whatever they want within YouTube guidelines. Because every time I go into the scroll, like there's a the reels are there, and once you get into the reels, if you go into a live stream and kind of, I don't know how you do it, but it's like you wind up going over into a subsection where you'll just find live after live after live after live. And if you scroll through that, I guarantee you within about 5 or 10 scrolls, you'll find some hollering, hooping, screaming, Bible thumping Christians if that's what you want. But that's not this here. No, lay boys, I'm not a Christian. I used to be. I was raised in that belief ideology, but it is a brainwashing ideology, and I've escaped it. Timothy Riley, I have no idea what you're talking about. Constitutional laws and whatever. You coming in with some foolishness. They do. They be talking all kinds of nonsense. I like I say, I listen to them, but even at that, when I see a lot of stuff on there that I don't agree with and all of that. But if I'm really, really tempted to just jump in there with some pushback, I stop to think, is it really that important? Because if I don't agree with what they're saying, all I got to do is scroll. I don't have to go in there and upset their apple cart, even though I believe in my heart of hearts they dead ass wrong. That's still their platform. And if I'm not going to stay there, there's no point in me staying there arguing toe to toe with them when I have my own platform. So if I don't agree with what they're saying and it doesn't feel good, I just leave. Child, yeah, honey, in the church house, they be lit up in there. That's why I say if people notice, it'd be more religious people that have most of the paranormal activity that be happening. The demons be jumping in and out and amongst them all the time. The Muslims be talking about interacting with the jinn. The Christians be talking about dealing with the demons. But they be in the house of Yahweh wherever they go. They deal with demons because that's what Yahweh is about. They don't understand true Christ consciousness. And that's why I'm here to try to help them with that, because that is the biggest irony, hypocrisy, fraud, and deception that has been put upon humanity. People uh, align themselves with Christianity out of love for Yeshua. But they don't realize that Yeshua was not pointing anybody to Christianity. Exactly the opposite. He wasn't even pointing the Jews to Yahweh. So you know damn well he wasn't pointing the Christians or his people to go and follow this new upstart religion, because at the time Yeshua came along, Christianity was an upstart religion that only came about after they unalived him. He wasn't telling nobody to go worship Yahweh. He was telling them the exact opposite. That is not my father. You worship your father, the devil. The one who sent me is not that. He kept saying that over and over and over again, and they just didn't get it. It started pretty much, Christianity started with the Catholic Church and Greek Orthodox, but it's all Christianity at this point. Any religion that is worshiping Yahweh is a religion that is unknowingly worshiping the devil. They just are, whether it's Judaism calling it Yahweh, Christianity calling it Jehovah, or Islam calling it Allah. It does not matter. They are worshiping the devil. If you stick around, lay boys, you'll hear what I think about God. I'm telling you what I think about the God of the Bible right now. But here's the thing, that term God should be Elohim. There's more than one Elohim, and there is a decent Elohim out there, but it ain't Yahweh. And am advocating for the other Elohim, the one that Yeshua was trying to point people to, because it wasn't Yahweh. Yeah, go ahead, Brittany. Do your thing, my love. I'm going to be here. Honey, they be everywhere. Demons is everywhere these days. We war not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities. Michael Jackson on some weirdness. I'm trying to ignore him. I really am. Baal is another one of Yahweh's names, iron butterfly. So when Yeshua rebukes Baal, he told them Beelzebub, Baal, any name that you could think of that refers to the devil, he told the Jews directly that they were worshiping their father, the devil. And Christianity then tried to remix and ignore and try to make that scripture say something other than what it says, but you just said it right out of your mouth. Jesus rebukes Baal. He absolutely does. And Baal is one of Yahweh's names. You're Mormon, you're misled, my love. Joseph Smith, I didn't say, he, again, and I'm going to just have to say it like I can, and I hope you can hear me. And I'm not saying anything bad against you personally. When I started connecting the dots, because I was raised Jehovah's Witness, and that ain't that far off in that kind of line of loop-de-loop thinking, okay? So don't feel bad. But when the Millerites thought that Yeshua would be returned, that Jesus, I'll put it in terms so you can understand. We're going. I don't normally refer to him in those terms, but I'm gonna speak it where you can get it, okay? Lay boys. The Millerites thought that Jesus would return physically in 1844. That was called the Great Disappointment when he didn't show up. And truthfully, Jehovah's Witnesses been looking for the return, looking for Armageddon to start. They thought it was going to come in 1910. Then they said it was coming in 1914, then 1925, 1975, on and on. They keep trying to guess. But when I really started going back down the line and trying to connect the dots, I understood energetically that something important did happen in 1844 or around there. And it kicked off in 1830 with Joseph Smith. Now, Joseph Smith, I'm sorry to offend you, but I got to call it like I said, was out his rabbit ass mind, okay? Because real spirituality is not racist. And Joseph Smith taught that black people are supposed to be slaves. And for a while, Judge Rutherford said that as well. That's not a sign of real spirituality. And then this idea that you give up all of your earthly pleasures and go walk this narrow path and do this ministry and all this other stuff so that you can get a planet full of virgins on the other side. When you leave life, you're going to get a planet full of virgins. That's the most madcap nonsense anybody ever want to see. Any man that really understands women would never want even more 4 women in his house, much less a whole planet full of them. And it's completely misogynistic because I don't care how great a man thinks he is. There ain't no man out there that's going to be able to truly satisfy and be a good husband, man, or father to an entire planet full of virgins. But them women got to sit around and cater to this one lackluster dude because he was faithful in toting his Bible around for Joseph Smith while he was on earth. That is pure poppycock. Okay? Pure poppycock. But Joseph Smith understood a need for something to change, and spirit can only flow through the lens of what it is. So if Joseph Smith's mind was not in the right place, he's liable to interpret something weird, which he did. But it was a beginning. It was starting to show a movement of Holy Spirit coming onto the plane. Between 1875 and 1925, at least 60 or 70 new religions popped up in the United States alone. Now, a lot of them were weird, and a lot of them bred themselves out of existence with their weirdness. But the ones that stuck around primarily were the Mormons, the Seventh Day Adventists, Jehovah's Witnesses, Christian Scientists, the Unity Church, Science of Mind, and I forgot what the other one was. but it did show that something was beginning to happen. And then in the late 70s, channeling started. Theo showed up, then Abraham and Esther and Cryon and Bashir and Daniel Scranton and all the rest of them. Also, what in the 20s and 30s, you start seeing the Theosophy movement with Helena Blavatsky and Rudolf Steiner and Edgar Cayce and all of them. So all this information was starting to percolate around the same time. That indicates to me that Yeshua did come back around 1850. He just didn't come back physically. You said hadn't they removed the S behind the word gods? They did. Well, it don't even need to be a capital G. It needs to be powerful ones, because that's what Elohim means. It does not mean God. Zechariah Sitchin grew up reading ancient Hebrew and Aramaic, and he used to get in trouble with that even when he was a kid, because he was trying to tell them this is mistranslated. Elohim does not mean God, it means powerful ones. Tesla, I'm not sure what kind of help you need. Again, you might want to make sure who you want me to pray to, because I don't do public prayers just because there's so many Christian apologists and haters and stuff. I really don't. And Nana basically is another iterate. No, I don't think Nana, that was Dumuzi's counterpart, but it's not exactly Ishtar, Isis, but they kind of got lumped up through the pantheons at some point in the time. Again, Tesla, this is not a prayer meeting, my love. If you got those kind of issues, you might want to call a crisis center. You can email me if you need me to some one-on-one, whatever, or a personal private reading or whatnot. We're just talking on a spiritual platform. But I do not go into public prayers because, number one, I am no longer Christian. And I have a relationship with Enki, but Enki is not that. Yahweh promises people that magic genie prayer answering thing that we've been taught to believe in. You kind of sort of need to have a personal relationship with Lord Enki if you expect deliverance from him or his angels. So I can pray somewhat for people, but I do not do public prayers because I'm not putting my energy out there for these demons that's swarming around this live stream to attack me. But honestly, if you feel helpless and all of that, then call serious. I'm not even being funny. Call a crisis center. You may need some medication. You may need meditation for sure. You need if you're not feeling in a crisis mode, you can stick around here. You might get enough of what you need to start reprogramming yourself, so to speak, so that you can help develop a relationship with Lord Enki and be able to pray. Because honestly, that's what first thing I tell you. Or ask Yeshua. Ask for Yeshua, Archangel Michael, and Archangel Raphael to bring you comfort, healing, and direction, and they'll help point you in the right direction. But you gonna probably stay depressed if you keep praying to Yeshua. I mean, praying to Yahweh. Hey, high frequency content. But in low, I didn't know that low MTB. I didn't know that they had gotten rid of him like that. But they still turned around and they still following his beliefs to this day. I don't even understand how in the world women. I don't know how Mormon men get women to go for that mess. To be honest with you, same thing with Islam. I have no idea what woman in some parts of the world, I get it if they're born into that scenario. Again, you get so indoctrinated into something. But here in the United States, when you're in a Western society looking at all other women around you and you agree to go and sign on for that kind of foolishness, whatever. No worries, and I'm not offended at all, lay boys, and it is a pleasure. If you, like I said, I got plenty of playlists on the channel. If you want to delve into the information and see how you feel or not, it's completely up to you. And again, blessings to you. I'm definitely not trying to offend you. I just have to call it like I've seen it and understood it to be. You say you ain't timing out. That living in Utah is like living in Australia, the prison colony. First off, like I said, I'm not trying to be funny, and I'm not saying they're not decent men, but I don't care who he is. There's not one man on this planet that's enough of a man to be split between four women and they all claim that they're truly fulfilled and satisfied. That's a lie. She got real low expectations if she can take a quarter of a man and be satisfied with it. It's just not, that's not gonna happen. And the older he get, the less satisfied she gonna be. She might be okay as far as money, but he's spreading himself too thin. And Mormons don't stop at four. And Muslims at least claim they're supposed to stop at four. Mormons will have 5, 10, however many they can manage to cram into a living space and convince them that that's what they're supposed to do. Oh, hell no, no. Mm-mm. Hey, high frequency content. So sorry. I didn't trying to miss the comments here. Hey, Marie Wills. Oh, yeah, I'm glad you caught me too. I'm saying, you are at Iron Butterfly. I was saying if she wanted some help, she could ask Yeshua to bring her some kind of peace, direction, because he is, if you ask for the ascended masters to connect with you, very often they will. And they did for me. Yeah. Hey, Donna Diaz. Welcome. It's nice to meet you too. You talking about men can read Solar? If you come back in here with that foolishness, you was in here last night and we kind of sort of tried to let you slide. But what I said is true. There is no man on the top side of this ground that can truly satisfy four or more women. Those women have extremely low expectations. I said it with my whole chest. Either he's cutting corners on time with her, he's cutting corners on what it takes to be a present for their children to come out of the union, or he's cutting corners financially, something, because he ain't that all of that. Too many men are too puffed up and inflated to think that they can plow their way through four whole women. Four? Seriously? Go ahead on, Solar. I don't know what John Medina said. I guess I ain't need to know. Y'all got him gone quick. Hey, Robin. Hey, I'm glad you caught me. Hey, Rachel. How are you? Hey, Deborah Kelly. There's plenty of women in here. Anybody, any female in this live stream right now, can you think of any man you've ever met that you would be willing to share with three other women and think that you're going to truly be physically, financially, and emotionally satisfied? I'll wait. Please put it in here. Exactly. There you go. Nope, nope, hell no. Girl, bye. Absolutely not. Nope. They don't believe me. And again, I love men. I'm not trying to hate on a man, but no, bro. It's fact of the matter. Ask the average woman. We talked about that the other day. How men hit their sexual peak around 25, and they're kind of sputtering out, and women don't hit their peak until 42. Trust me. By the time a man hits 40, he really ain't truly satisfying one woman all the time. I don't care how much money he got. He's still not fulfilling all of her needs. She just love him and she's going to stick around there with him anyway because she likes him and she's willing to put up with the differences in their relationship. But there's no way in the world he going to screw his way through four women and keep all of them satisfied. Bull pucky. Oh, I already knew what that was gonna be, Weston. I ain't even, like I say, I just wanted whoever that was that made that comment saying that that ain't correct. I'm like, yeah, we just asked the women in the room. Hey, Aylet, how are you? Hey, Marie Wills. Yup, yup, yup. Hey, Jewel, I didn't even see you in here yet. Often. Welcome, welcome. Yeah. I don't care if you brought Idris and what's the other dude, the dude that plays Mufasa and somebody else and Matthew McConaughey. You could roll up 4 or 5 of the most yummy looking Hollywood something or others you ever thought. Even them, even especially them, because they spending months out there filming and everything else. You really won't have nothing but a half of a piece of a sliver of a man trying to deal with that. No. Mm-mm. That's why it amazes me, these men that get so arrogant that they think they're gonna get away with cheating, and a woman is supposed to put up with that. Like, dude, please, you wasn't enough just to be when it was just me and you, and now I got to share you over here with Shaquita too. Hell no. Mm-mm. And the diseases and babies you might want to bring with you, you know, you ain't worth all that. You got to go. But anywho, let's get back over here because I got completely off track. We was in the scriptures talking about. I know, Rachel. I'm having flashbacks now about them deadbeats that I had to deal with. Like, look, you said a 60-year-old male acquainted cheater just want to procreate. Oh God, there will be waiting until YouTube goes out of business in 2025. Wait a minute, when is YouTube going out of business? It is not. Waiting until it go out of business in 22, 25, maybe, or 25, 25. YouTube ain't going nowhere. It's what is the second or third biggest search engine on the planet. It ain't going nowhere no time soon. Yeah. It's funny to me because there's a whole lot of dudes out here that really they talk about um, how women overestimate. Well, no, ain't no they. The red pill dudes talk about how women overvalue their worth, and once we're past our breeding age, we're no longer acceptable, and all the rest of that. And they act like men don't have expiration dates too. Now, a man's expiration date, if he got long enough money, his expiration date is longer than a female's. But them little 3-haired, pot bellied, blood pressure pill popping, Viagra taking dudes that swear up and down that because they got their mortgage paid off, that makes them high value men and everybody want them. They are living a fantasy. Them young girls gonna keep swelling their heads and taking their money, but they are not as attractive as they think they are. They just not. That's what's up, Weston. I remember you saying you had golden blood, so shoot, I don't blame you. I was a donor. I'm AB negative, so but I don't have any other special stuff. But I donated plasma for years until I finally got to a place it was messing with my um blood profile, and then I just stopped. But I did it for a number of years. I mean, and it wasn't just because I needed money. I was working and stuff, but I was in a town that had a center. So on the days that I could, when I get off from work, I go and donate just because I knew it would be, it was doing some good. Now, I still got pissed off when I found out how much the plasma centers make off of that plasma and how little they pay for it. It's ridiculous. Every one of them vials represents about $10,000 when they finish that collection. And they turn around and pay people, what, like $40, $50 for it? Yeah. I'm AB positive. If I said AB negative, I'm lying. I'm sorry. I'm AB positive. I'm not AB negative. Oh, wow. Yeah, like I say, I did it for a while, and then it got to a point where my numbers was getting off and funky looking, and I'm like, yeah, I've already paid my dues. So I stopped doing it. Now I couldn't even if I wanted to now because I've gotten to a point I have pitting edema. I done gained so much inflammation and stuff, but I got some pitting edema happening in my legs, and they definitely won't let you do it then. But I don't want to anymore anyway. Like I said, they don't pay enough for the time that it's involved. And again, I've done my time. I done gave enough for the good of the human collective. Anything else at this point would literally just be a waste of my time. Oh, back to the convo though. Revelation 3. Because again, somebody brought it up yesterday and it hit my head different because I don't know why. Like I said, it's one of those things like Genesis 18 had escaped me before. And it's odd because I had highlighted this scripture, but I kind of sort of forgot about it. And until they brought up that conversation, they were trying to find out basically who the God or who the Elohim that Yeshua was talking about, since it didn't the scriptures don't name those names specifically. But Revelation 3 verse 12 says the one, it said, well, I'll read the whole thing. The one who conquers, I will make him a pillar in the temple of my God. Never shall he go out of it, and I will write on him the name of my God and the name of the city of my God, the new Jerusalem, which comes down from my God out of heaven, and my own new name. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. Now, that part of Revelation, he had laid out, he was talking to the different angels or messengers. He told them to write to the various congregations of people that were followers of his. He had them write to Pergamum, Thyatira, Sardis, Philadelphia, Laodicea, and Smyrna, Ephesus. So there was the 7 churches, and that was his message to the to Philadelphia, that he would write on him the name of my God and the name of the city of my God, the new Jerusalem, which comes down from my God out of heaven. Now we get back over here to Revelation 21. Well, Revelation 20 is when they describe Satan, the devil, being bound and then loosed and then bound again and bound in the lake of fire and the second death and all of that other stuff. But Satan, according to Yeshua and according to the Anunnaki text, Satan of Eden is Enlil, Yahweh. So Satan the devil, Yahweh, is going to be locked up, deposed in Revelation 20. And then 21:1 says, Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. And I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, Behold, the dwelling place of God is with man. He will dwell with them, and they will be his people. And God himself will be with them as their God. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death will be no more. Neither shall mourning, nor crying, nor pain be any more, for the former things have passed away. Now you know good and full well that ain't talking about Yahweh. Yahweh ain't brought humans nothing but harm and misery and all the rest of that. He ain't gonna wipe away tears from nobody. He been causing tears. Even the Babylonians and the Sumerians and all of that, he been calling for the annihilation, the extermination of humans for ever since the Sumerian pantheon. So obviously it ain't that Elohim that Yeshua is referring to in this vision in Revelation. And they done locked Yahweh up in 20. So who's the other Elohim? The other brother, Enki, the one that Yeshua been telling them is his father. He was like, my father is not from this place. My father is, he's the one who sent me is not y'all's God. You worship your father, the devil. Mine is from someplace else. And here he comes. And as far as the new name in Revelation 22:16, He says, I, Jesus, have sent my angel to testify to you about these things for the churches. I am the root and the descendant of David, the bright morning star. Enki was the morning star. Yeshua is the morning star. That's his new name, according to this vision that he gave John. Ben Hollenbeck, I have no idea what you're talking to about or who you're talking to, because you just came in the chat talking about locking somebody up in 23. Whatever. I'm not sure what that means. I think you may have left a comment in the wrong chat or something. But yeah, that Revelation 3:12 though, tying that in there like that, to me that was another huge clue, because he's sitting there telling you that his God is coming with New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven with New Jerusalem. His Elohim, I should say. So that was pretty cool. So what else we got, folks? It's pretty quiet in the chat right now. Some days I can't even keep up with it, and now it's super, super quiet. What's up? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Honestly, he probably was in a different room and meant to, because I've had that happen. Well, not in a live stream, but be sitting there trying to make a comment and then it turn around and be like a hit a commercial or go to a new thing or whatever, and my comment wind up getting posted on the wrong video. I honestly think that must be what he talking about, because I can't see that he was even in here making any other comments about anything else. I don't remember seeing him at all in here ever. That name only would sound familiar to me. That's why I was trying to find out. Size CC 360, it was a huge confirmation for me. Like I said, I already was convinced and convicted with the Revelation 21 and what I've understood about the Gospel of John and the Emerald Tablets of Thoth and the Lost Book of Enki and all of that. I'm very comfortable with the idea that the Elohim that Yeshua is referring to in the scriptures is indeed Lord Enki, and that's who was referring to in Revelation 21. But that, like I said, and it's so weird because it was a Christian apologist that was trying to argue a completely different point and called out Revelation 3:12 to try to make their little jacked up point, and it didn't make the jacked up point, but it did confirm that link to Revelation 21 to me. I'm been released from religion, lay boys. If you read the Lost Book of Enki, he'll let you know Enki is our prime progenitor of the human race. He installed as a geneticist. He was the one who created Adam and Eve. He's the one that fathered Adapa and TT. And welcome back, you're right. But he said in the Lost Book of Enki, which if you're not familiar with that book, we do read it here on the channel. I think it's extremely important for anybody who is genuinely interested in trying to sort out Bible truth, that they need to read that book, because it wasn't, Enki's brother is Yahweh, Jehovah. Yes. Jehovah is not the invisible, all powerful Alpha Omega Sky Daddy we've been told he is. He is the brother of Enki. They came here from Nibiru. Their father is Anu, his sister Ninmah, and his nephew Thoth. Well, Enki, Enlil's nephew, Yahweh's nephew. Enki's son is Thoth. So, but you have to look at texts that are older than the Bible to understand that. Most Christians do not understand that this book in this format only goes back 500 years. That's all. And even from the original text, even if you go back to the first Council of Nicaea in 325 AD or 290, was it 295, 325? I can't, yeah, 325 AD was when the first Council of Nicaea convened. They literally wrote Christianity during the first Council of Nicaea. That was almost 300 years after Yeshua supposedly had been put to death by the Romans. Okay. And when they did that, they convened, they brought in a lot of different religions and different ancient texts. They started out with the base foundational stuff from the what the Jews had from the Torah or the Talmud, the first five books, the Pentateuch, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Those also appear in the Jewish text because that's the narrative that they started painting, that this Yahweh is supposed to be the one and only true God. The only reason he's the one and only true God is because that's the lie he told Abraham, and which is stupid. That's why I said I don't mean to be offensive to Abraham or Moses, but they were not the sharpest tools in the shed, and they chose really, really poorly. You said Yahweh was stoned and is boiling in the afterlife. Well, it should say that because Revelation says that he's going to be put, they didn't say stone, but Revelation says that Satan is going to be bound in the lake of fire. Warrior above, within, without, the all supreme, according to Lord Enki, they call him the creator of all. He's the one who in Genesis 1:1, where it says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That's the creator of all. By the time we get down to verse 25, 26, where everyone says, let us make man in our image, that's when the Anunnaki story starts. But this planet was already here, already bioformed, already terraformed when the Anunnaki got here. And they tell us that. Hey, Southern Sky. The book, this Bible, yeah, it is the Christian rule book, but let me tell you what it really is, because most Christians don't understand that. This is why I continue to talk about it. You said what in Genesis, warrior above, within, without? Yeah, no, the creator of all is what Lord Enki calls the divine being in the lost book of Enki. There's no name given for him because according to them, that being never personally interacted with them either. They basically did a home invasion on his house. They knew that somebody had put the stuff here, but because there was no sentient life here, out of desperation, they went ahead and hybridized the hominid that they found here. And truthfully, though, but the creator of all did weigh in because before the flood, when Yahweh was trying to get all of humanity, to allow for all of humanity to be drowned, Enki said that the creator of all sent a messenger to him. The messenger's name was Galzu, or you can call him an angel, because the word angel means messenger. So when we talk about angels, Michael and Raphael and all of them, those are angels that were, or messengers that work for Lord Enki. But the creator of all sent his messenger Galzu to speak to Enki and let him know, ain't nobody tell you to come here messing with my creation, but since you've done this thing, I want humanity preserved. And the angel of the and Galzu gave Lord Enki the dimensions for the vessel that we call the ark now, to preserve humanity by preserving Zizudra. What's the difference between Yahweh, Yeshua, and Jesus? Yahweh is Enki, is Jehovah's name before he got to be Jehovah. That is the God of the Hebrews. He was a storm god in the many pantheons before the Jews decided to become monotheistic. They were henotheistic. There were many Anunnaki beings being worshipped as gods during that time period. Abraham his father had been a temple scribe in the temple of Nanarsin, the moon god. And then when he left which is where the temple was, and went out into the wilderness, Yahweh came to him And he didn't even tell him his name. He said, I am who I say I am. I am that I am. But he agreed, Abraham agreed to serve Yahweh because Yahweh promised him a son in his old age and promised to make his name a mighty people. Ooh, I ain't even see what Southern Sky said, but it'll be all right. No, Enki is not the creator of the universe, honey. Again, why do humans get so caught up on that? We got to know who the creator of the universe is, and we can't even figure out what's going on here on Earth. Enki never told anybody he was the creator of the universe. That's a lie that Yahweh be telling. He the Alpha and the Omega, and he set the heavens, and he did this. And he ain't did none of that. They are astronauts that came here from Nibiru and dared to play God, but they are not God. So where would be a good place to start unlocking these truths? Again, if you look, I have mentioned it a bajillion times. If you look at the Lost Book of Enki, that's a wonderful place to start. But you believe in the God of Israel. So if you choose to continue believing that lie, there's nothing that I can do or say to convince you. And I'm not here to try to convince somebody that ain't ready to hear the truth. Yeshua spent 3 straight years trying to talk to people and tell them the truth, and they don't want to hear it. And I know if you've been in my live streams enough that you've heard me read the scriptures where Yeshua told them that the God that the Israelites was worshiping is the devil. And I just read another scripture where it talks about that. The in the Anunnaki story, Yahweh, Jehovah, his first name was Enlil. When he first came here, he got off the ship. His name was Enlil. And his title here on earth was Satan of the Eden. I didn't make that up. And people hear that and they still don't want to believe it. But Satan, the devil, in this Bible is Yahweh, is the one they call Jehovah. And he got in the scripture, there's a scripture somewhere, I think it's Corinthians, Ephesians, somewhere, that says the whole world is lying in the power of the wicked one. And that ain't no lie. I know. And that's why I keep mentioning it, because it's a lot of people that have been on a different indoctrination their whole life, because Christianity is never going to tell you the truth, honey. They just not. What the Christians did, and people don't even understand that. The person who invented Christianity was not a Christian believer. He didn't give a rap about Yeshua, but he knew that Yeshua's name was powerful, and a lot of folks did still love him. So they took that story. They killed Yeshua because the Jews wanted them to do it. In the scriptures, if you read in the Bible, the Jews wanted Yeshua gone. So much so that they delivered him up to the Romans. And when Pilate questioned Yeshua, he turned back to the Jews and said, I can't find any fault in this man. We usually have it was coming up on Sabbath, so they said they had a tradition of releasing one of the prisoners before the Sabbath. He said, why don't I give you back this one? And they said, no, yeah, well, it is said that Yahweh's wife was Asherah, but his other wife was before Asherah became Asherah, she was Nenlil. But yeah, wait a minute, hold on. Yep. And he didn't care about that. Yahweh don't care nothing about killing his wives, his children, his brothers, his nephews. He does not care. He has no regard here. He's on a power grab, complete power grab. But back to the story, when Tiberius was the emperor who actually unalived Yeshua, okay, or supposed to. Truthfully, that's a whole other story. But we're going to just, for argument's sake today, we're going to say that it did actually happen that way, and he did actually succeed in unaliving him. 300 years later, 295 years later, in 325 AD, the Emperor Constantine wanted to unify. Tony, you on some nonsense. You ain't, yep, I knew you weren't going to be in here long. Okay. Constantine was a sun worshiper, the sun up in the sky. The symbol of sun worship, the seal of Constantine, was a cross with a circle around it. That's why the cross is central to the Christian story. It ain't got nothing to do with the actual crucifixion. It's not physically possible to hang somebody from a cross the way they describe. The nails would go right through the hands and rip right through the skin. There's not enough supporting bones through this part. The hands and the bones are splayed out. The bones in the hand are splayed out this way. If you tried to put a stake through somebody's hands and then hobble their legs so they could not support their body weight through their with their feet, it would rip their hands and they would fall. You can't crucify nobody like that. And it wasn't an idea to crucifixion the way Christians want to tell it. It's supposed to be exalting somebody, impaling a person, according to Deuteronomy, I think it was, is the most ignoble way that you can unalive somebody. That was left for criminals. And they said that hanging a man from a tree is a curse, and leaving that man on that tree past sunset is a curse upon the land. Even Paul acknowledged that Yeshua bore a curse because of what they did to him by hanging him on that tree. But Christianity tried to jazz the story up and make it be a good thing. And then they turned around. What they basically did, it wasn't, les boys, it wasn't written in 2002 by Zechariah Sitchin. It was translated and published in 2002. It was not written. It is not fiction. It was a translation from an ancient tablet that they uncovered when they was out there digging up all that other stuff. Y'all think that they found, when they found the Dead Sea Scrolls, that's the only ancient text they found? No, sir. Zechariah Sitchin wrote 15 books about the stuff that they found out there in the desert. He was chosen to translate it because he was born in 1930 and in Israel or Palestine, but he had the ability to read ancient Hebrew and Aramaic, and he was able to decipher Sumerian, Akkadian, and Anunnaki cuneiform. So he was given the task of translating that document. He did not write it. And he made it very clear that he didn't write it. You need to stop letting Google search and Wikipedia give you all of your research, my love. He presented it as though it was a translation of Sumerian tablets by the god Enki, because it was a translation of the Sumerian gods written by the god Enki tablets. And Enki even named the attestation of Andupsar, and Dupsar is Adapa's son, and Adapa was Enki's son. Sitchin didn't just make this up, and he didn't spend his whole life to have somebody dismiss his stuff as fiction or clown on him because they was too lazy to do the rest of the research. He put all tons and tons and tons of facts in his works when he was writing so people would take him seriously. And then you just dismiss it as it was written by him. No, it was translated by him. That's a huge difference, lay boys. And if you can believe the bullshit that Joseph Smith comes up with, how dare you try to sit there and not want to believe the facts that Sitchin laid out with Enki? You really ain't, you the last somebody in this live stream that should be doubting that whether or not the lost book of Enki is real. Because your whole belief system is literally built on what one man back in 1830 had to say. And you don't really think that truth can go back further than 1830? on a planet that's at least 500,000 years old. Expand your mind, brother. It's free. Yeah. In order to impale somebody, they would have had to put that stake right about here. There's a bone that comes across here that can bear the weight of a human. And when they put two of them together and put the arms over the head like this, and then hobble the knees so you cannot put weight on the feet, you'll die. What happens is the person's lungs will fill, they will drown in their own fluids. It takes some time and it's very painful, but that's how you impale somebody. And it was done to be a very embarrassing, very infamous way. It was considered the worst way that you could put somebody to death. It was reserved for criminals. And I'm not taking offense either, but it's not just like the Book of Mormon. It's not. Because again, Enki, I wasn't going to read this whole attestation. I talked about it in the upload that I did tonight, but I know a lot of folks that listen to the live streams don't necessarily watch the uploads and vice versa. Hold on. In this book, in the introduction, it lets you know clearly in the introduction that it's not a work of fiction. And I'm not going to read all of that because it gets pretty lengthy, but he does talk about the Anunnaki, the book of Adam and Eve in the Apocrypha, the Toledoth of Noah, talks about the stuff that they found in the Library of Alexandria and all of that. And then it talks about the pre-Diluvian cities, Sippar and Eridu and Sumer and all of that stuff. There's a lot of information in there. And if you're interested and you don't want to go buy the book, Lay Boys, I have read this entire book on the channel. There is a playlist on my channel called The Lost Book of Enki, and you can listen to the narration of it. No, this book is historical, and I'm getting to it right here. Hold on. I'm trying to see where it's at, because part of here they was talking about with the Eden, Enlil was Lord of the Command, and then Enki was Lord of the Waters. And then, yeah, I'm not gonna read all of the intro, but the attestation, this is very, very telling. And if you know what you're looking at, like I say, this says the inscription on it was the words of Endupsar, master scribe, son of Eridu city, servant of the Lord Enki, great God. In the 7th year after the great calamity, in the 7th month, on the 17th day, I was summoned by my master, the Lord Enki, great God, benevolent fashioner of mankind, omnipotent and merciful. Now, he ain't saying once upon a time in a land far away. He's giving, they don't give the actual numerical year, and it's fine because they actually mention it later on in this book when they switched, they literally changed time. Now, humans have done that too, but they changed the timeline at some point. But he was the one that outlined the calendars and stuff anyway, but it was very specific. He wasn't doing this just as a joke. High frequency, I'm glad that you're enjoying it. Cool. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And like I say, you could go and look at the playlist and stuff if you wish. But he says, and Dupsar says, I was among the remnants of Eridu who had escaped to the arid steppe just as the evil wind was nearing the city. Now, the evil wind in the Anunnaki wars, it tells us later on in these texts, Marduk was so aggravated. He was mad. I think it was Nanar who was getting too powerful or whatever. They were fighting against each other, and he wanted to stop Nanar from building a spaceport or something down in southern part of Africa. And he went and petitioned for the right to get the weapons of terror unleashed. Enki had taken the weapons of terror off of the spaceships when they started shuttling the gold back and forth. He didn't want those weapons used anymore, so he took them off the ships and hid them in a cave somewhere. But Marduk knew that they still existed somewhere on the planet, and in the Anunnaki wars, he got mad and wanted to unleash one, and he did, and it literally destroyed Eridu, Sumer, and Shurabak, I think. And it wasn't because it was an atomic weapon, but it wasn't the actual blast that took those cities out. The wind carried that nuclear fallout all up through northern Africa, and literally the Anunnaki had to jump up in their spaceships and haul butt until it went away, and most of the occupants of those cities died. But some of the people were able to get to higher ground and get far enough out of the reach of it that they survived. But they called it the Great Calamity. And then shortly after that, I think the flood, well, after they started rebuilding, then the flood came around. Was it the flood came first and then the Great Calamity? I can't remember, but Jesus freak, and it never amazes me. It never ceases to amaze me how ignorant people that call themselves Jesus freak are about the truth of these things. Honestly, you can call yourself a Jesus freak, but don't even know you worshiping the devil. Low key, high key, low key. But you so caught up in your ignorance, can't nobody tell you nothing. So if you want to learn something, you can stick around and be quiet. If you keep on chipper chappering with your stuff in here, they'll remove you. That's all. But anyway, back where we were. Now, what he describes in here, after he said, I was among the remnants of Eridu who had escaped the arid steppe. Just as the evil wind was nearing the city, I wandered off into the wilderness to seek withered twigs for firewood. And I looked up, and lo and behold, a whirlwind came out of the south. There was a reddish brilliance about it that made no and it made no sound. As it reached the ground, 4 feet spread out from its belly, and the brilliance disappeared. I threw myself to the ground and prostrated myself, for I knew it was a divine vision. It wasn't no divine vision, it was a spaceship landing. Like the Hindu talk about the Vimanas, they've been talking about the Vimana for like 10,000 years now. Hey, Swimmingly, how are you? Yeah. He said, now, when I lifted my eyes, there were 2 divine emissaries standing near me, and they had the faces of men, and their garments were sparkling like burnished brass. And they called me by name and spoke to me, saying, You are summoned by the great God, the Lord Enki. Fear not, for you are blessed. And we are here to take you aloft and carry you unto his retreat in the land of Megan, on the island amidst the river of Megan, where the sluices are. Brian C., if you read Ezekiel, they talk about them too. The wheel within the wheel and all of that. That's not weird theology, it's the truth. Because what I was trying to point out to people, if you really know what you're looking at and stop accepting the watered down elementary Christian claptrap you've been given, this book starts out with the story of the Garden of Eden when the Anunnaki first came here. Angels mean messengers, Brian C. You don't know what you're talking about. You so want to believe in that evil sky daddy nonsense. I'm trying to tell you something that could actually bring help, open your mind, and get you out of ignorance so that you would know how you've been lied to, but you would rather cling to the lie than listen and hear the truth. But it's okay because they did that to Yeshua too. I am a messenger of Yeshua. You about to get up out of here, Brian, because you too ignorant. You ain't ready. Now I hope once they silence you, if you want to stick around and listen, you can. But you're not gonna sit here and argue and interrupt what I'm trying to say here by just constantly spamming the comments. So I recommend, if you want to know what we're talking about, that you chill for a minute, because I'll make sure and make it make sense. It is nonsense. You said claptrap nonsense. Because they've been giving us a broken mirror, a black mirror. They tell the story of the Anunnaki, but because they genericized everything and put God everywhere it should have said Elohim, and Yahweh turned around, You said leftist religion you found on Facebook. Okay, well, however you do that. But they turned around and genericized everything and put God where it should say Elohim. They took the ancient Anunnaki text where they were describing their breeding program in Genesis, the genes of Isis, where they talk about who begot who and who begot who and all the rest of that stuff. And then when Yahweh comes along in Genesis and hooks up with Abraham, that's when they launch the Yahweh story in this Bible. Then they rock on some more, and by the time they get down to the so-called Gospels, the New Testament, they cook up this Yeshua story. And I'm not saying Yeshua didn't really exist, but the stuff that they laced around him, he literally came here and kept telling the Jews, I don't worship the same person. My father is not the God that y'all are worshiping. My father sent me here to try to teach y'all something different, to set things straight, and you're worshiping your father, the devil. He said that directly to the Jews in John chapter 8. That the one that they were worshiping was a liar, a manslayer. He didn't know that have the truth nowhere in him. He said, you don't know my father. You worship your father, the devil. He kept telling them that. They still didn't understand it. They wanted him dead so bad till they didn't want to do it themselves. They didn't want to bloody their own hands by unaliving the Messiah, because they kind of sort of knew he was the prophesied one, but they didn't want him there. They were sick to death of hearing him tell them to stop worshiping Yahweh. So they they delivered him up to the Romans on some trumped up mess. The Romans didn't even want to put him to death, but they insisted on it. So Tiberius unalived Yeshua. 300 years later, Constantine comes along and wants to unify his kingdom. And instead of, well, like I said, he had a whole bunch of different religious programs going on in his kingdom. He wanted to unify it. So he calls the First Council of Nicaea, and they gathered and literally created a religion that brought in a little bit of this and a little bit of that from all of the ancient stories that they had. And I don't care who you are, you cannot deny the fact that Christianity is chock full of paganism and witchcraft. But they crafted this story, and then for the cherry on top, the huge irony and blasphemy, since so many people in the area still knew about the Yeshua story and loved Yeshua, they turned around and knit Yeshua right in the middle of this mess as a mascot to supposedly be the bridge that carried people from the older Yahweh worship into the newfangled Jehovah worship. But it's the same being. Yahweh and Jehovah is the same cat. And that is the same cat whose name was Enlil when he first got here, Satan of the Eden. Exactly. They're going to tell you don't question. They're going to tell you you're wrong. And these people that are so traumatized and programmed from religion, when I'm in here trying to talk and trying to teach something different because I finally got over my fear and being shut down long enough to do the research and see what's going on and connect the dots. And I start talking about it, and they still come in here spewing that same fear trigger stuff that they've been told because they can't hear it. Ooh, it was 42 and 42 for a second. That was kind of cool. But yeah, and that's the real irony of the scriptures, because Yeshua is only central to the story when the gospels come out. And even 3 of the 4 gospels are still some kind of made up stuff. Matthew, Mark, and Luke never met Yeshua. And I know there's something wrong with those gospels. I do believe that there's some good information in them. You're welcome, Robin Williams. I believe there's good information in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, especially because under Luciferian law, they kind of sort of have to tell you the truth even when they hide it in plain sight. And Matthew, Mark, and Luke, they all tell the same exact story of the Last Supper. Verbatim. That's how you know it's a lie. Because Yeshua was a practicing Jew. He was going in, he would have sat down to the Passover meal. But as a Jew, he didn't have the authority to tell nobody that they could stop doing what Yahweh done told them to do. If they planned on serving Yahweh, which Yeshua had been telling them not to, but if they was planning on serving Yahweh, they had to continue doing what they were supposed to do. He wouldn't have told them that. But that the fact that all three of those gospels, they were written between 70 and 110 years after Yeshua was supposed to have been unalived off this planet. First of all, if you actually walk with Jesus Christ, arguably the most important man that's ever walked on this planet, if you walked with Jesus and experienced these things firsthand, why would you wait 60 to 110 years after the fact to write about it at all? And if you did do that, what's the likelihood that your account would exactly match word for word with the other two people who just happened to get a wild hair up their butt and decided to write the accounts after 60 to 100 years after the fact as well? I just said, les boys, that Tiberius was the one who unalived him. I said that. And Constantine was the one who wrote Christianity years later. Again, please stop wasting because you're too busy doing Wikipedia homework right now to listen to what I'm saying, because you're wanting to argue. But I know what I'm talking about. I didn't say Jesus didn't exist. I'm saying that the story that's told around it is a bunch of nonsense. But from what the Christians did, they telling this story like they needed to unalive him to buy back our sins. It was a good thing because Yahweh loved the world so much that he gave his only son to save our sins. That's a bald-faced lie. Yahweh has always hated humanity from day one. Hate us with a passion. Hate us with a passion. So if there's talking about an Elohim that loves the world so much that they gave their son, it would not have been Yahweh. It would have been Lord Enki. And Yahweh turned around and allowed him to be unalived. And then in the greatest hypocrisy is literally like that dude I got to look up to see, I think it was Hoover, that turned around and said, I have them N-words voting Democrat for the next 200 years. And just about did. Yahweh did the same thing. Enki, you really think you're going to get these people to come in here and you're going to call yourself going to send your great son, Savior, to give them so much enlightenment so they can stop worshiping me? Not only are we going to kill him, but I'm going to turn around and make it so that these people are going to turn around and worship me for thousands of years and they're going to pay me for the privilege of doing it. How you like me now? That's exactly what they did with Yeshua. Yahweh hates humanity. He's never fulfilled any of his promises to anyone. And Paul even said that in Hebrews 11:40. They did this long dissertation of faith and what faith means and talked about all the faithful men and women in the Bible. And at the end of that chapter on faith, it says not one of the faithful men and women of old saw their promises fulfilled in this lifetime by Yahweh. They did not. But yet we still keep on hoping and scraping and bowing and praying and sacrificing and bringing our tithes and everything else to a storm God who absolutely despises humanity. It's crazy. Hey, Valerie, good to see you in here. Hey, Kerwin, welcome. And Deborah Donovan, energy is transferred. It never really goes anywhere. It's transferred. It's like stepping out of one vehicle into another. You're gonna step out of your physical avatar, and who knows where that energy is gonna go or whatever till you decide to come back and reincarnate into another avatar. But yeah, you ain't going nowhere. And unless or until your consciousness expands, you really ain't going nowhere, because that's the whole point of what Thoth said he wanted to do by helping humanity's consciousness expand, and what Yeshua was doing. John 3:16 says the Elohim gave his son so that whoever believed like him may not perish but have eternal life. Now Christianity done cooked that up to try to make it be something else, but I'm trying to tell you. Hey Antoine, good to have you in here, brother. It probably is a spaceship coming. Hopefully they need to. They need to stop lying about disclosure and just get on going and get it over with. I believe Paul was the Antichrist too, and I think that's what Yeshua was talking about. Chevalier Daniel, I'm not sure what you talking about, but okay. Honestly, lay boys, no. And I get, listen, I understand. When we've been indoctrinated for religion, Yahweh insisted that we have a worship gene put in us. Enki, as the prime geneticist, did that, but he felt so bad about doing that. He did it at Yahweh's insistence, but he also gave us the ability to turn it off. The Enlilite religions, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, those kinds of things are very, very worship centric and a whole lot of genuflecting and a whole lot of stuff you got to do. Think about the Enkiite philosophies in contrast: Buddhism, Jainism, Taoism. Those type teachings aren't truly religion. Now, if you just need the ceremony and the pomp and circumstance to feel like, this kind of sort of close to worship, Buddhism or Hinduism should satisfy that in you, but we're not obligated to worship anyone. He does want our respect and cooperation, but we do not have to worship Enki. No. The book of Enoch came from the same place all these other books came from. It used to be included in the Bible canon, Douglas. A lot of the so-called apocryphal texts were removed from the initial Bible canon because they tell too much. And that occurred to me when I was a little girl. My parents had the Apocrypha up on the top shelf of the bookshelf, but they told me I couldn't read it. I had been able to read. I was taught to read from the Bible by the age of 3, but I was forbidden to read the Apocrypha. And I was an obedient child, so I never read it when I was at home. But years later in my studies, and I was so angry with religion for a while. And oddly enough, I wasn't angry at God because I thought that religion just got it wrong. I didn't understand. And then I set out on a quest. I wanted to know the nature of Yahweh. And the more I got down into it and really learned the nature of Yahweh, then I realized, oh, I should have been angry with Yahweh. I called myself out of respect. Oh, I wasn't angry with him. I thought humans just got it wrong. Oh, hell no. Yahweh deliberately led them wrong because he wanted that worship and stuff. Yeah. But the book of Enoch came from the same place that the other text came from. That's why I say people think when they found the Dead Sea Scrolls that all they came up with out of the Dead Sea was these 66 books. That's a lie. The initial Bible canon was about 118, 120 books, something like it was 100 and something or other books. And then I think it got whittled down to about 88 or 89. And then the final process that they were willing to allow into the most of the world was 66 books. But the Ethiopian Bible still got, I think, 75 or 80 books in it. Exactly. We created, and that's the part that could never understand. They tell this lie, Weston, like we are supposed to be so grateful we were born sinful and dirty and worthy of death. That's all we are. We're little more than garbage. And thank God Yeshua came along and gave his life for us. But that don't really, hey, rock on gold dust woman, that don't even make a whole lot of sense, because if God is the Alpha and the Omega and he know everything like they say he do, you created man and you know you had a faulty product here. So why in the world would you turn around and require a blood sacrifice from your son who was perfect to buy back the so-called sins of your faulty product? That makes no sense. And since you know you created a faulty product, you're going to turn around and blame the faulty product for being faulty? Eve and them sinned right out the gate pretty much, but yet they're saying it's Eve's fault. But again, that's that misogynistic thing, hate on women. It's been the whole time, women ain't nothing. Women led us wrong. It's okay to treat women horrible because they're the fault of all of this. Ooh, Lord. Oh yeah, Antichrist done popped in here a few times before. So weird. A lot of us are, Karen Lewis, are undergoing a transformation. That's another reason why I continue showing up and continue talking about these things, because there are a lot of people that are awakening and undergoing a spiritual transformation. And it is uncomfortable if you've been stuck in religiosity and religion your whole life. Accepting that you've been hoodwinked and bamboozled is difficult. At first, you don't want to believe it. Then you're going to be hurt. Then you're going to be angry. Then you go back to not wanting to believe it. Then you're going to be hurt a little while. It's not, turning off the worship gene is not an overnight process, but stick around. I'm here to help, because trust me, I've cried plenty of tears and been worried if I was doing the wrong thing. And when I'm sitting there and start getting these clairaudient messages from Yeshua, wondering if I'm really hearing what I think I'm hearing, and all of that, honey, all of that. So just stick around. That's what I'm here for. Deborah Donovan, I honestly, to some degree, probably, but I honestly think there's so many things to do in between incarnations. I think we can be present with them from time to time, especially when their thoughts are focused on us, or we want to get a message to them, and we need to be. But I don't think we're just sitting there hanging around all of our loved ones, some creepy ghost hangout stuff. I don't think it's like that. High frequency. Oh, you had an NDE? Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I've never had an NDE that I'm aware of, but I have listened to like hundreds of NDE experiences at this point, and they all pretty much have a similar theme. Now, the ones that I don't really, and I actually, when I find out I'm in there, I just leave them alone. The ones that claim they're going to hell, but you got to understand, people, I think, experience what they expect to experience. So if you've got somebody whose mind has been so indoctrinated into that hellfire unworthiness thing, and they know they've done a whole bunch of stuff on earth that they ain't supposed to, they might have a hell experience in their NDE, but that doesn't mean they're going to actually have a hell experience when they transition for real, because hellfire is not for humans. It never was, even in the scriptures. That's genuinely not a biblical teaching. It is a Christian teaching. There is a difference. The church adopted that to put fear in people, but there's no biblical basis for hellfire or for the Trinity. Child, Karen, I don't even know how you managed to do that, honey. As a woman, I said it earlier in there, I don't know how any woman in this day and age can follow Islam or Mormonism, because that all of the Abrahamic religions are misogynistic, but Islam and the Mormons take it to someplace completely different. I can't do it. You get him, Antoine. He be undoing their stuff. I ain't mad. Karen, a lot of the original Bible, but that's just it. The original Bible. There is no original Bible. The Bible is an amalgamation of ancient texts that were put together in a specific way to create a narrative for the Catholic Church, or those who were pushing Christianity out into the world. There is no original Bible. There isn't. This is a tool of Christianity. This is the Christian rule book. And the whole purpose of this book was to unify, to take the old fashioned Yahweh story. They plucked that from the Jews, but they wanted to use that as a vehicle to convert Yahweh into this new Jehovah thing person. And they use Yeshua as the mascot, plunked right down in the middle of it to try to make this lie make sense. They cooked this up. Well, lay boy, my heart, you talking about I won't harden my heart unto Jesus and come back. Jesus wasn't over there with y'all, and that's what you're going to find out if you get to the point where we actually have this reckoning in our lifetime, or whenever it happens, you're going to find out Jesus ain't over on the side of Christianity. That's what I've been trying to tell you, but you can't hear me. Jesus was busy telling the Jews they was dead wrong for worshiping Yahweh. So how can the Christians be right for worshiping Jehovah? If Yahweh and Jehovah is the same being, and he is, then the Christians is just as wrong for worshiping Jehovah as Yahweh, as Yeshua told the Jews they were for worshiping Yahweh. That's the part they don't understand. Like I said, Yahweh told the Jews they was worshiping the devil. Christians are also worshiping the devil, and they don't know it because the devil has put himself out there to be an angel of light, but he is not. The whole world is lying in the power of the wicked one because they've been flim-flammed and bamboozled, and they choose to keep panting after this devil rather than listen to what Yeshua was truly saying. So don't pray for me to come back over there, because I promise you I ain't coming. I'm going to stay over here on Team Yeshua and Team Inky. That's what I'm going to do. I pray that you get some sense and wake up and hear what you need to hear so you can come over here into the light, Carol Ann, and join us and leave that dragon Yahweh over there where he at. That's what I pray for you, lay boys. Oh, Deborah, I ain't going back. Talk about what if you don't want to come back? I promise you I ain't going back. They can't take me back over to Team Yahweh kicking and screaming. No, sir. I promise you that. Hey, Joshua Hassan. Hey, Frank Jones, and thank you. Again, Deborah Donovan, you talking about you don't want to leave your grandson? You can't help your grandson unless you are willing to leave him. You know how they tell you on the airplane when the flight attendant tell you if we get to the turbulent whatever and the oxygen mask drop down, your first temptation would be to put it on your grandson first, and the flight attendant will tell you every time, don't you dare do it. Because if you get lightheaded and disoriented, you're of no help to nobody until you get your head on straight. So you have to get yours right first. Put the oxygen mask on your face first, and then you can help your grandson. Your grandson, you old, honey. If you old, and I am too, so I can say that. So you're going to sit there and truthfully, because your children choose to continue to follow a lie, you would not wake yourself up so that you could teach your grandson something different. So all of y'all are just going to die and go into the pit because you want to go with the status quo. If you love your grandson, you need to be trying to figure out the truth and teach him so that he cannot be flim-flammed and bamboozled, and like you've been flim-flammed and bamboozled. When you wake up and learn the truth, you should try to tell him. I tried to tell my family, but my family is still stuck in that Jehovah Witness cult thing. They don't want to hear it. I sent my sister a playlist of some of the stuff that I was talking about. She won't even look at it. But I'm definitely not going back over there with her just because I want to be able to sit up at the family reunion. Absolutely not. Well, honey, I don't know what to tell you. If you're raising your grandson, if you feel like when you're gone he'll be alone, then that means you're raising your grandson. So what you choose to teach him, especially as an autistic child, I guarantee you he'll probably cling to the truth way easier than he will the Yahwistic lie. If you actually understand the truth and teach him that, he'll be all right, and so will you. Because at the end of the day, I ain't trying to be funny, but it's highly unlikely that you're going to outlive your grandson. You're old enough to be a grandmama. Eventually, you may not want to leave your grandson, but that's going to happen, and it's okay. That's the circle of life. We're not supposed to bury our children. They are supposed to bury us. So, but if you understand that energy is only transferred, it doesn't have to be a scary thing for you. I'm not saying you want to check out now, because I want to stick around long enough to be a real problem to mine too. But instead of being scared, worrying about leaving your grandson, how about allowing your consciousness to awaken and expand, and then start working with talking to your innate and allowing the transformation and the evolution on the fly that's actually happening, because our God cell is becoming active. That dormant DNA that science ain't know nothing about, it's becoming very active now. And it's highly possible, in my opinion, that there are going to be those within our lifetime that we're going to start seeing expanded lifespans. Why don't you focus on that instead of worrying about not leaving your grandson? Unless you in the hospital laid up on oxygen somewhere right now, that's a very morbid thought for you to have if you're not actually sick right now. Exactly. High frequency. That's the one thing that people don't understand. From what I've been led to understand, judgment after death is more of an issue of us being, I don't want to say made, but basically the way it goes is you will have to face the pain that you brought to others during that lifetime from the vantage point of the person you hurt. So you'll be doing like a life review, and you're seeing a scenario happen, but you're also feeling how it impacted other people. So again, like she said, or they said, the judgment that happens is you judging yourself, because you don't have no choice but to actually look at the crap you did. You can try to justify it when we're here in this human vehicle, but after this life is over and we're going through the life review, we don't get to just try to justify and duck from it. We actually have to face the things that we've done. Rock on gold dust woman, this idea of being ordained, probably, but here's again, Christianity don't want to believe it when I say I believe from John 1:1 and John 3:16 and Revelation 3:12 and Revelation 21 1 through 4, that in my opinion, I do believe that Yeshua is the second incarnation of Thoth. Thoth was here, not before the foundation of the creation of the world, but he was here from the very beginning when the Anunnaki got here. The creation of the world was already bioformed and terraformed when the Anunnaki got off the plane, off the spaceship. But Adam and Eve and everything that came after, they did that. But yes, Enki was, Thoth was there. Ningish Zeta is Lord Enki's son, and his other name is Thoth, the Atlantean. And Yeshua, a lot of correlations happen between Thoth and Yeshua that lead me to believe that Thoth was Yeshua, or Yeshua was Thoth. They're both referred to as the Word. They're both referred to as the Logos. They're both referred to as the Son of Man. They're both referred to as the light of the world. They both were said to have attained immortality, and they both claimed Lord Enki as their father. They both said that they wanted to come back and come back among the children of men, the sons of men, to help raise our consciousness so that we could attain immortality as well. They both were alike in mind and purpose. In my opinion, Yeshua was genuinely a transfer of consciousness into an avatar plunked down in front of the Jews to try to enlighten them and steer them away from Yahweh worship and help them expand their consciousness. And when Yahweh and all the rest of them got hold of it, they unalived him for doing that. Hey, story time. What's up? What's up? Welcome, welcome. You said that's exactly what you experienced. You had to experience it as if you was that person that you had hurt. Yep. John Pratt, if you really believe that, are you more than 5 years old? I'm not even trying to be funny or disrespectful, but John Pratt, are you an adult or are you a child that's clowning me right now? I really want to know. You think eating a loaf of bread is going to cause you to go to hell? Then if you think that eating a loaf of bread at the age of 5 is going to cause you to go to hell, I know you done did way worse stuff than that. Then you should be thrilled when I tell you hell is not for humans, because a child doesn't know any better. So a child eating a bag of bread at the back of the church absolutely would not go to hell or be punished at all for that. And if you are so indoctrinated with that nonsense that you really believe that, brother, please free your mind. Please. You worshiping a monster that's got you in fear of something that you don't need to be in fear of, my love. Hell is not for humans. Oh, you're welcome, Douglas. You are so very welcome. Deborah, likelihood is, yeah, you probably will. Why do we worship then? We don't have to worship. We worship because Yahweh insisted that we have a worship gene put in us, Sarah Johnson. And most people are so indoctrinated by the Yahwistic programming. 3/4 of the planet worships him in one form or another, whether they call him Allah, Jehovah, or Yahweh. Literally 75% of the planet is indoctrinated in that program. That's the reason we worship. But no, worship is not required of us. If you could honestly believe what we're being taught and move over to Team Inky doesn't require worship like that. Obedience or cooperation, I should say, and respect, but not worship. Deborah, why do we love in this life and have to say goodbye to the ones we love? Because it's a cycle of life. Why do you think that's a bad thing? We cling to people because we get damaged in what we think love is. But it's better to have loved and experienced love for a time than to never have known love at all. We selfishly want to cling to people forever and ever and ever. But everybody got their own ride on this rock and their own experience. Some are here for a long ride, some are here for a short ride. Some of them will walk with us for a long time, some of them will walk with us only a short time. You've got to learn to let go and stop being so insistent on hanging that tightly to anybody and everybody that you care for. If you love something, set it free. That's just the way it goes. Now, truthfully, I really would love to have it get back to the days when our telomeres can be lengthened. I would love to stick around for 3, 4, 500 years, maybe 1,000 years. But that's the way we're set up. Even the Anunnaki don't live forever. It just seems like forever to us because their lifespans are so long because of the whole situation on Nibiru. But they're not truly immortal unless or until they go through their spiritual expansion and ascension as well. And the only way humans can find their way to real immortality is to continue to go through this cycle enough till they can get to where they expand their consciousness enough to turn off their worship gene and then start doing the spiritual work to ascend. And it can happen, but Thoth said it took him some time. It gives us kind of the blueprint to how to do it in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, but we just start working on our consciousness and allow our consciousness to expand once we've been able to escape the Yahweh paradigm. I love you too, Storytime. Appreciate you. Okay. And again, I'm not trying to be insulting John Pratt because I do get it. Some people have been so indoctrinated that they honestly believe that stuff. But no, baby, there's no way that you eating holy bread at the age of 5 gonna send you to hell. And neither is any of the stuff that you did as an adult that you don't want to admit to right now. You know what I'm saying? Now, obviously, if you were a serial killer or axe murderer or something like that, and you had no remorse for it, and you was just a danger to yourself and society and everything else, it still wouldn't send you to a fiery hell. But your life review gonna be a hell of a when you get to the other side. I'm just saying, I don't envy nobody that. I think sometimes I think about stuff like that. Can you imagine what Hitler's life review would have been like? Or Genghis Khan or Shaka Zulu or any of them cats. Like, ooh. Hey, Anthony, how are you? Welcome. the school of Clarence Parrott, I studied at the School of Life. Because here's the thing: the things that I'm teaching are not you're not gonna find in nobody's seminary because they don't want to. Well, you some of it you will, you actually will. I have talked to several seminary trained priests and preachers, and a lot of what I'm talking about will be taught in seminary. But I wasn't gonna lie to myself and spend thousands of dollars to run up in a seminary, knowing damn well I don't plan on helping to continue to spread the Christian lie. So I do a lot of my studying. Thanks to this little thing we got called the internet, damn near any kind of book that you want is available to you right there. So if you can read with comprehension, you ain't got to go to no seminary to get this information. I started meditating consistently in 2016. By 2017, I understood I was undergoing a transformation. By 2018, I understood that I was being invited on the path of the initiate. By 2020, my clairaudience kicked in, and I just started following my intuition wherever I was led through meditation. And they done led me to the works of all kinds of people, the I Am discourses, um, Secrets Revealed, Beyond the Himalayas. I done read Steiner and uh, Edmund Burroughs, Kelly, uh, all kinds of information that I wound up studying. It's coming story time. The Anunnaki, from what we've seen in the thing, some of them live. As far as I know, I think they talked about some being like 98, 99, 100 shars old, which would mean if they were if any of them were 100 shars old, that would be 360,000 Earth years. 3,600 Earth years is one shar. So if a being on lived on Nibiru to be 100 years old, and I think they can live longer than that, but I'm just trying to remember from some of the stuff that I had read. Some of them were like 90 shars old, so it'd be like 400,000 years old. Honestly, high frequency content, exactly. Once you realize that you're immortal, you won't see the loss of a loved one the same. Exactly. And I'm so sorry about your 11-year-old, but like you say, you do have to be at peace with certain things. And on the Anunnaki, John Pratt, is Anunnaki. The word Anunnaki means those who to earth from heaven came. That is the other name for the Atlanteans. They are the beings that were on Nibiru and then came to earth, created us, and they created a whole lot of hell and confusion because some of them didn't want to act right. But high frequency, one of the things that I was looking at several years ago, it was a weird conversation that I had with a friend of mine, and it helped. The light bulb just came on with me, so I'm gonna share it a little bit. If maybe it'll help people that are dealing with why people die, why people get sick, that sort of thing. Our lifespan is shortened because of Enlil, not Enki. Yahweh, Jehovah, Enlil insisted that our lifespans be cut short because he did not want us living long enough to connect the dots and figure this out. Okay, so it's truthfully like as soon as we really get going in the game, good, our token is up. If we live to be 500, 1,000 years old, more people would actually figure this stuff out, and it would be harder for him to continue to push this lie out into the world. That's one of the reasons we die as soon as we do. However, one of the things you said, which book is a good one? Uh, the Lost Book of Enki to me is one of the best. Again, oh Lucifer lay, whatever you got, Revelation 22:16. We can go to that. I'm gonna get back to what I was looking at before. But you put Lucifer lay in your name. I don't know what that's all about, but okay. I just told him that. Yeah. But I quoted this very, I read this very scripture earlier in here. You must have just got up in here. I read Revelation 22:16. That is Yeshua's his new name that he's going to get after Satan has been deposed, when his father comes down from heaven with New Jerusalem. Lord Enki is going to come down with the new base camp for New Earth, New Jerusalem. He talks about that in Revelation 21. Yeah, so you ain't, I'm not sure what you was doing when you was quoting Revelation 22:16, but I actually read it in this live stream. Um, hey, little bit 603. We're talking spirituality here. I'm not doing tarot tonight. But as far as what I was getting back to, as far as helping me see how things line up, I was talking to a friend one night and he was saying how we were both talking about how we both smoke weed, but we didn't ever mess with anything harder than that. And I was like, yeah, they used to invite me to line parties and stuff at school when I was in high school because that was a thing back then. But I never wanted to mess with anything like that. And he started talking. He said the thing that made him never want to touch harder drugs was when the athlete Len Bias died. And I was like, me too. Now he's in Carolina and I was born and raised in Florida, but we are like a year apart. But when Len Bias, if anybody doesn't know the story, he was a very promising athlete. I can't remember if I think basketball was his sport, but he was supposed to be going to be the next latest greatest everything. And he went to a party while he was in college and did a line of coke, and it was too pure, and his heart ruptured. It killed him like instantly. And that's hearing about it, it was all over the news because, like I said, he was a really, really promising athlete. And hearing that story kept me from ever considering doing hard drugs. So, and he said same for him. And then later on, I got to thinking about it. And I was like, what if it's actually kind of like that before we incarnate on this earth? If you're sitting around in wherever they be when they're in the non-corporeal state, and you're looking down on earth and you see, oh my goodness, they're really, really having such a hard time with this cancer thing and all of that. You know what? Or when the case of land bias, we'll get it. It'll be easier. It'll still translate to the other ones. I know it's going to be a short life and it's going to be a painful thing emotionally to my parents and all the rest of that, but it'll teach some folks stuff about stuff. And the lesson that's taught in that will probably save a lot of lives. You know what? I'll do it. Hold my beer. And they know they're going to be right back. If you already know that there's no such thing as death for real, and you're going to go through this life experience, and what you go through may be difficult, but it's going to help save a lot of lives and teach very important lessons and all the rest of that, you might decide to take a very painful incarnation through here or a very short one. Think about babies that come here with really, really horrific diseases, but it really challenges the medical community to learn something about that disease and be able to treat them so that even though that child's life doesn't last very long, the doctors that are treating that child make new leaps in medicine that saves countless other lives after that. That would be something worthwhile going to volunteer for, especially if you understand when you're volunteering for it that there is no such thing as death. It'll be a short turnaround, but you're going to be back on your cloud for your next mission in no time flat. Yeah, we would sign up for those difficult lessons. And I firmly believe that's exactly what happens. We just forget when we come here and we get so attached to everybody and we want everybody to live to be 792, and we so upset when they leave and all of that stuff because we get hung up on that. But it doesn't have to be like that. If we can expand our mind and understand that death is a part of life and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Do we all ascend at the time of death? I don't know. It depends. And actually, I kind of sort of do know because truthfully, You say, do we all ascend? Again, it kind of sort of comes along with that what you believe is going to happen. Because we have heard stories about people that were kind of stuck and don't know, they're kind of in that limbo, or they're in some kind of a dark place. There are even some people whose belief systems, they're so indoctrinated, they stick around and actually haunt. Not all hauntings are not actual beings, some of that demonic crap, but I do believe that there are some beings whose energy gets trapped in places because of where what they believed before they got here, and they get stuck a little bit. So our ascension depends on where our consciousness is. So up until recently, when truthfully, when people started awakening through the matrix, most humans didn't ascend. They just been churning and burning through the same stuck cycle for hundreds of years, some of us thousands. Do magic exist? You've been trying. If I was you, life is hell, I'd leave magic alone. It's not working for you because spirit don't want you dabbling in magic. How about that? But magic does exist, but it ain't nothing you want to mess with. On my path, I come from a long line of witches and warlocks in my past lives. This go around, I can't touch it at all, and I don't want to. I'm supposed to be closing those cycles, breaking those generational curses. Magic is in dark manipulation that we were not supposed to mess with. If you go back and read the book of Enoch and all of that, magic was given to us by the Watchers, and they're going to be punished for doing that. But a lot of folks have continued to elaborate on it and build on it and all the rest of that. They're trying to take spiritual shortcuts. We're not supposed to do that. So if I were you, white magic, black magic, gray magic, green magic, leave it alone. The only magic you should be continuing to work with is potentially manifesting with the moon, if you want to call that magic, or your personal power, like a practical magic, doing things for yourself out of your willpower and your mind space. But all of that bubble and toil and trouble, leave that mess alone. It ain't going to get you nowhere good. You say you can't smoke weed, it's a slipstream to paranoia. You need some better weed, my love. Maybe some if you in a state where it's legal, go to, instead of using street weed, because a lot of times I think it's the stuff they spray it with, get it from a dispensary, and that might help. And let them know that you have an issue with paranoia. Some strains have been bred for less paranoia. All right, Robin, have a good rest of your evening. Absolutely, we can talk another time, but thank you for joining us, my love. Child, boo, I don't want to. Story time. I call myself doing the Columbo thing. I dated this dude one time, and he was a bad, I could say, I didn't even know he was on that stuff. And when I found out, I got him at my house real quick. But I was doing laundry one day and found a baggie in his pants, and I played the Columbo nonsense. And because it was just residue, it wasn't anything left in the bag. But I touched my pinky to the residue and did that like they do on TV at the time. They used to show that on detective shows. And pooh, that about blew the top of my head off just from that. Ain't no way in the world I would mess with that stuff at all, at all. What is you talking about, Mark Green? Talking about white privilege. That's a little crazy. White privilege ain't no such thing, and I'm not getting into that. We're not here on political nonsense, Mark Green. We ain't talking about nothing racist up in here. Exactly. If you want to know what it is, go look it up. And actually, there's a white author that actually does a piece. Look, so put white privilege in the search bar in YouTube, and there's a very good documentary. I cannot think of the lady's name off the top of my head, but she is white and she's got kind of darker, kind of curly hair. And she did a couple of talks. Wrote a book several years ago, probably in the 70s, 80s, 90s, I'm not sure, about white privilege and white guilt. And she had a lot to say on that subject. But that's all I need to say on it, because I don't need to discuss it here. That's not my platform. I don't give a rap about white privilege, because I'm not on no racist shit. I don't care. Hey, Niana, welcome, welcome. Hey, summer girl. I'm not being unkind. You in here trying to take over to bring some racist foolishness into a spiritual discussion, and those two things don't have no room to be together. I'm not being unkind. I'm just not discussing racial issues here. And you trying to make us be doing that, and I'm not doing it. Hey, Christine Hervey, how are you? Elm Face, welcome, welcome. And hey, Carly Elbow, welcome to you too. Thank you, Storytime. I appreciate you. And here's the thing, we be having cool discussions up, down, sideways all day on this channel in the live stream. And not once have I ever asked anybody, even the people I do personal readings for, not once have I ever asked them what race they are, because I don't care, because it doesn't matter at all. No, I didn't. And honestly, it's UFC. I really don't care. LMB3, whatever you are, do believe the gospel. That's why I'm here speaking what I'm speaking, because I'm trying to get other people to repent. I'm here literally speaking Yeshua's message. You don't come in here spewing Christian claptrap. You'll be made, you'll disappear right up out of here. My mods don't play that. I haven't given them any guidelines. This is our channel and they don't want to hear that. So they have a very short fuse for that kind of nonsense. You're welcome, Deborah. You absolutely are welcome. Hey, little Ed. Exactly. We are, look, our skin, our layer, what do they call this? The epidermis. It's what, 3 millimeters thick underneath this little shaded whatever. It's all the same. All the same. It's just absolutely ignorant. The idea of racism, like Storytime said, it's genuinely a wrench to keep us at each other's throats, to divide us while they continue to abuse all of us. Because truthfully, that's the part. And again, I ain't gonna say I haven't ever been out of pocket enough to buy into some of the stuff, like when they start talking about reparations and all that. And truthfully, it would be nice, it'll be nice. And they could easily afford to do reparations, but I'm not losing no sleep over no reparations, because at the end of the day, the Barbary pirates enslaved more white Europeans than white settlers in America ever enslaved black folks or Indians. So every color of people on this planet have, goodbye, L3 beats whatever. Goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye. I can have whatever I want. You don't come in here rebuking nothing. I rebuke you. How about that? And you done messed around. Antoine will get you. He gonna put some stuff on you. You don't even know how to read. He gonna put some Hindi curses on your behind, rebuking somebody. Nasbam, you can find peace after your best friend passed away by understanding that your best friend, their energy has transferred. But once you process your grief, and again, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm not trying to make light of your situation. My sister passed away, transitioned, what have you, 24 years ago. And every now and then I still get misty eyed and I miss her too. But I also know very, very well that she is around. Every now and then she'll show up as a bird acting a little weird, or I'll hear a song, a favorite song of hers that I haven't heard in 15 years, will pop up on the radio, or she'll appear in my dreams and things like that. So I know she's around and I find peace that way. And I hope you can too. You may not be able to connect with your friend right now because your grief may be too fresh, but eventually you will, okay? You will, especially if you set the intention for it and allow that connection. They'll send you a sign, ask them for one. Rachel, you find yourself by understanding that you're worthy of better than that. I don't even need to pull no cards on that. You got to stop. Because the only reason, listen, and again, hold on, y'all. We're gonna handle this and then we're gonna move on. But I gotta talk to her. I'm gonna talk to her like an auntie or a grandmama here. Inky's, oh Lord, no, we're not doing that. Hey, Inky person, but I'm not saying that word in here on this. Um, Rachel, what is hurting right now, the reason you feel so lost and hurt is because your ego is bruised. I'm not saying that you don't care for this person, but you was in a relationship with them for 1 year. Okay, 1 year. And now you found out he cheated, but somebody else has a baby that is his and not her boyfriend's. But you feel so lost and hurt about a 1 year relationship that the dude done cheated on you for. You need to go somewhere and find some self-esteem somewhere, honey. Because I know it'll be hurting. I'm not saying I wouldn't cry a tear in private, but after that, 2 tears in a bucket. Fuck it. He ain't loved me enough. He couldn't keep his thing in his pants. I deserve better. You need to learn how to have that attitude. He ain't shit. He ain't. I'm sorry. And unless until you know that you deserve better, why are you sitting around feeling so lost and hurt? How do you find yourself? You get up and put your big girl panties on, wash your face, and go understand how amazing and beautiful you are. He didn't cheat because you did something wrong. He cheated because he ain't shit, period. That ain't no reflection on you. Go heal your energy. Definitely do a cord cutting and a spiritual bath or 2 or 5. Meditate, focus on you, and raise your vibration so you stop attracting ain't shit dudes into your experience. That's all. So that your next relationship, when you're ready for it, can be amazing. You say you miss your dad, your half sister, and David Bowie. I hear that. I have had connection in meditation with a few what we would consider celebrities. Um, Briefly, Prince and Steve Jobs, oddly enough, for a little while. I got a chance to connect with him pretty cool one time. Um, and Jerry Hicks, that was kind of cool too. But usually it's just my sisters and stuff because I haven't really opened my way self up to really be receiving outside energies like that. I don't. You said it was a 7 year relationship. Okay, I don't care if it was a 20 year relationship. If he decided he no longer, and I don't want to sound uncaring, I had to cut one loose that we've been off and on, whatever. And in our experience, I wasn't romantically tied with him. I was with him for about 7 years. Then I left him, but we still did the let's remain friends for the sake of our kids thing. And truthfully, by the time I turned it, really, really cut him out of my experience, we had been around each other for 20 years. Okay. So I'm not saying that time doesn't matter, but to a degree, time don't matter. Because if he's a piece of crap that's willing to cheat on you, then he's a piece of crap that's willing to cheat on you. Whether you was together 1 year, 37 seconds, 92 years, it doesn't matter. If fidelity is important to you and he knew that it is, the relationship is already over before he put his Johnson in somebody else. But he did it and stuck around and did that often enough to actually create a baby on the outside. The hell with him. You need to love yourself enough to get over that and understand that he ain't what you thought he was. You can have what you truly deserve, but you have to genuinely get over that and love yourself enough to allow your vibration to rise to the point that you have enough confidence and self-love that when you put that energy out there into the universe again, you will manifest and draw to you a person who loves you, cherishes you, and hangs the moon on you and wouldn't dare think of cheating on you. They're out there. But he ain't what you thought he was, honey. You probably manifested him from that hurt, broken, oh my God, I love him so much, I need him place. And a lot of women do. I'm not mocking you. Been there, done that, got a t-shirt and 2 trophies. When your self-esteem is fucked, you will manifest fucked up men in your life, and eventually they will devalue you the same way you devalued yourself. And at the end of the day, if you really looked at everything he brought to the table, he probably ain't been doing right by you. It ain't just the cheating. It was probably a bunch of other stuff he was settling for, not really showing up for you in the relationship the way he was supposed to. Despacio. Okay, yeah. I'm glad you do like it. Unduduzo. You see, you have a longtime friend who resents your progression. How to move away? Cut them loose, and cut them loose with a quickness. If they truly resent your progression, that is poison, because they don't want to ascend. They see you ascending, and not only do they not want to do the work, they want you to stay there stuck with them. Cut them people loose. And you ain't got to make no grand announcement. Just let them fade to black. Don't always be so quick to answer their calls. Don't always be so quick to run and do stuff with them. Make you some new friends and just edge them on out. And do your cord cutting and your spiritual baths too. You ain't got to worry about me reading your name, Inky, whatever. Yeah. Good night, high frequency. Until next time, like I said, hey, that's what I'm here for. I'm happy to be of some assistance. That's what I'm saying. If you were still with somebody for 7 years and a year you got rid of them a year ago, but you still so hurt and crushed and all of that, that's an indication that you need to be doing some work on you. You should not still be devastated, that devastated, honestly. And I ain't even trying to be funny, but back in the day, a year was a period of mourning for somebody actually dying. This nigga just, oh, excuse me, I ain't even mean to use that term, but this dude just cheated on you and brought in a baby from the outside. He didn't pass away. He showed you what of a piece of nothing he is and cheated on you, and you still stuck around mourning the loss of this man who did wrong by you and brought an outside baby over top of you. You got to think enough of yourself to know that you deserve better, so you can stop grieving that fairy tale that you're still trying to hold on to, because he didn't hold on to it. Story time. You can look up some cord cutting rituals if you want to, but it is a mental exercise. Truthfully, the way I did mine was um, take a shower. On the other side of the shower, when I finished the shower, I ran a spiritual bath that I had set up, put my candles around, had my meditation music going. I'm sitting in the bathtub, and I went into a meditative prayer, whatever you want to call it, session with Yeshua and Archangel Michael and my ancestors, and asked to release everything that is not for me and of my greater good, all of the beings and the people, past, present, that are not for my good. And some of them I named specifically that I really wanted to cut loose, but even if there were, attachments that I was unaware of that needed to go. And then imagine myself, I don't cut them. Some people do a ceremony where they imagine cutting them, but I had somebody explain to me before, don't cut them, remove them. And I literally imagine myself wiggling those cords out, pulling them out by the root so they cannot grow back. And once I did all of that, I bundled them up, wrapped them in love, and presented them to Archangel Michael to dispose of however he sees fit. And so it is. It's not a waste, Rachel. Our relationships are not a waste. They're very often our starter pack. Those people, the ones that hurt us, that cause us so much drama and trauma, they are high level soulmates that show up in our experience to help take us through our paces for certain um, karmic lessons that we're supposed to learn. Some of the ones that are really big playing out in the mass consciousness right now is the narcissist empath paradigm, poverty consciousness, victim mindset, um, like I said, the whole narcissism thing, period. Worthiness. Yeah, those are some really big issues that are playing out. And sometimes the people that show up in our lives are there by divine appointment, especially if you kind of sort of identify yourself with the chosen. We have very difficult lessons to go through, and it ain't been easy, but a lot of times, and we keep seeing those same traces showing up again and again and again because you might have been plunked down in a family dynamic with a narcissist and you got so traumatized you left home early at an early age, but you never really learned that lesson as an imbalanced empath. So then you wind up with a coworker that refreshed that. You got a narcissist coworker or a narcissistic romantic relationship, or until you learn the lesson, you'll keep getting delivered those same kinds of lessons, different faces, different places, but they'll keep repeating themselves until you heal. And once you recognize it and heal, do the cutting, do the this, do the that, ascend and those things, and you raise your energy, and you'll find you'll have less of those people that are in your life. You're gonna have to get rid of them and cut them loose, and they will spin the block and try to come back. But the more you raise your vibration and become aware of it, you'll start meeting a different kind of people, different caliber of people, and you'll graduate that lesson and get them out your life. What do I think about ayahuasca? Brittany, I thought I kind of sort of think I'm spiritually ready for it, but I probably wind up doing DMT first. I think I can handle anything for 15 minutes. I'm not sure if I'm ready for 8 hours of being out there. But if I do choose to do DMT or ayahuasca, for me, I intend to only do it with someone that I trust a lot, a lot, a lot to take with me. I mean, I know you got to see a shaman and all of that, but when I do, I want to make sure that I have a support person, not the shaman, my own personal support person, personally known to me. And I do not want them taking Aya at the same time. They're going to wait with me through be there with me through my trip. And then if they want to take it too, once I'm all good and I'm done with my trip, I'll be with them for them while they take their trip. But we can't both be going through that at the same time. I just know. Mm-mm. I need somebody that's going to be able to help keep me grounded. Oh, story time. I didn't realize you were back in here, and I didn't realize you had asked too. But yeah, that's how I feel about it. I don't have an issue with it if you really are spiritually ready. When someone first mentioned it to me, my mentor was telling me about it. He's done it before, but when he first mentioned it, it was literally about 14 years ago, and I knew I was not spiritually ready for it at that time. And over the years, I had kids and stuff to deal with, and then my life shutting down. Like I said, spiritually, I feel like I am ready for it now, but I still have safety guidelines and concerns because of that's a long time to be in a vulnerable state like that. And I don't really know anybody in my life, so that I, yeah, I can't imagine me going to Brazil or somewhere with nobody, without somebody known to me with me, and then just doing that. I don't trust people like that no more. To put myself in that kind of a vulnerable situation for 8 to 10 hours without a sober person that knows me and loves me being with me. Hey, nature videos. Hey, Bernetta McInnes, how are you? Hey, Luca Pescuda. Yeshua. is my main guide. He's my teacher. I love him. It amazes me though. Y'all be so darn bold with that. Who is Yeshua to you? Do you not understand how bold and arrogant that is? Who is Jesus Christ to you? Who is he to you? I do not think that Yeshua is the devil. Stop lying on me. You don't go there, John 3:16. I can't stand being lied on. I have never, ever, ever on nowhere told you that I thought Yeshua was the devil. Stop it. And you think I'm lost and spitting lies, why you still here then? And Lloyd Igbo tribe, you gonna be up out of here too, because but if you notice, Jesus does translate to hail Zeus, and Zeus is Yahweh, is the devil. But I don't use that name, Jesus. I said Yeshua, and I don't think any of the rest of that. But if you want to be technical about it, Jesus is the devil, but that's not what they asked. She want to know about Jesus Christos, Christ, and Yeshua is a Christos. And I do not believe that he is the devil. Don't lie on me that way, please, or you will be removed from the chat. Well, I just said Brazil because that was the first thing that came out of my mouth, off my mind. I know there's places in the U.S. too, but by the same turn, I also feel like I would have to kind of sort of know the shaman that's doing it, because I really feel like the energy of the shaman is important to the experience too. And I'm not sure I would find the energy that I'm looking for in an American shaman. I don't know. TR, I done been baptized twice. You don't even know what the hell you talking about. I renounced my baptism because I do not serve Yahweh anymore, TR. You need to go find out what it is that you dedicated your life to, because Christians don't know. They've dedicated their lives and serve and worship and have baptized themselves in service to a monster. Yahweh is the devil. He is not what you think he is. Zeus is Yahweh, TR. Again, keep talking your ignorance. You'll be removed because we know what we're talking about over here. Hail Zeus. Zeus in the Greek pantheon translates back. If you continue, Yahweh done showed up in a bunch of different pantheons under a bunch of different names. He's been known as Zeus. He's been known as Baal. He's been known as Beelzebub, Dionysus, Bacchus. Lots and lots and lots of different names, honey. Odin. Yeah, that part. Hey, Joyce Lucas. Welcome. And you can believe whatever you like, Luca, but I'm here to tell you you will be wrong. But you're welcome to believe whatever you like. You're just not welcome to keep spewing it here. So if that's what you believe, this is probably not the channel for you. You ain't ready yet. Scroll on. That's all you got to do. Hey, Bernetta. Welcome, welcome. Because Yeshua said he was. In John 8, JR, LR, whoever you are, in John 8, and Luca Pascuda, whoever, Yeshua told the Jews that Yahweh is the devil. No, I don't want to do a formal debate with you. I'm not here to argue with people that don't know what they're talking about. I'm not a Christian apologist. I'm not apologizing. There's no need for me to argue with you. I've told people I thought Billy Carson was dead wrong to talk with a fool like Wes Huff. Why would I do that? If I know what I'm talking about, there's no need for me to debate you. I'm here to teach, not argue. Bye. Yeah, I'm not a fraud. Again, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm not saying nothing that Paul Wallace, Billy Carson, Mauro Bellino, and plenty other people have had to say it. But you can sit there and say what you want. I'm not going to sit there. Billy Carson wasn't exposed. And if you think he was, you can get up off of here right now, because I can tell you this ain't the channel for you. and your energy isn't welcome here. So goodbye. I'm gonna show you how afraid I am. You're in timeout as long as I can put you there. How about that? He just wants to challenge and taunt. And if he come back in here, Wes Huff is a liar. That's why he don't know what he talking about. These people are so indoctrinated in service to the dragon that no, even when the truth is smacking them in the face, they can't accept it. And if TR ever come back in here with that mess, talking that foolishness again, then he'll just be permanently banned from the channel till he can't even see what we doing. Because I could do that. I just try to be nice and stop permanently banning people and let them back in to try to, because sometimes they really be wanting to know. They just don't even understand. You think they're communists? Honestly, I don't get into that or the politics. They're zealots. Have you ever heard like people talk about being a fan? The root word fan comes from the word fanatic. And Christians, zealots are some of the worst of the fanatics. They've left reason all behind. Because truthfully, if you think about Christianity, period, to believe the stuff that they believe from that God after reading that stuff in the Bible and they still think that that's the God they want to serve, they've let all kinds of reason go out of the world. Oh, you back, are you, TR? Okay. He must have a bunch of different profiles. Next time, if he comes in, if he come back in, if he keeps, let him leave and let him go, and I will permanently remove him. So he can't come back in under any of those profiles. You can like whatever. I'd love for you to like this if you genuinely like it. That's fine. It's not about having beliefs challenged, sir. It's about not allowing you to keep coming in here disrupting what we're doing because you're in here to just argue. You're not here to genuinely talk or anything. So we're going to just hide you completely. How about that? But how low life, you ain't got no kind of life or nothing left to do. You got 3 or 4 raggedy profiles on the ready. That lets you know that this is somebody that's a carbuncle. This is an absolute bed sore of a human being that goes around trolling people's live streams. That's all. Have a great day, Spring, Arjuan, Roblox, whoever you are. Yeah. Woo woo. I'm glad you joined. Wonderful. Exactly. But again, how is that? They're talking about, oh, you must be afraid. You don't want to have your beliefs challenged. You're not doing anything but sitting here arguing. You ain't giving me nothing real. You just coming in they don't have no life. We all get 24 hours in a day. And ain't nobody paying them to do that because I don't even have enough subscribers to be worthy of somebody wanting to pay somebody to come in here and mess with my live stream. So that means this person is willing to create 4 or 5 or 6 or however many fake profiles and keep coming up in people's live streams to troll them. That person genuinely has zero life. And you're right, Will. They've made themselves a pawn of the devil. Because it is spiritual warfare. Our light irritates their demons, so they continue to come in here because they don't have no life. But I wouldn't waste my time coming up in a live stream for something that's talking about something I don't believe in. I see all kinds of foolishness here on YouTube all the time. And if I don't agree with it, I just scroll on. I'm not going to stick around, and I'm certainly not going to create 4 or 5 profile so I can keep coming back into a live stream for something that I don't believe in and don't agree in, and wasting my precious time of my 24 hours out of my day to come in there talking to something I don't want to see. That's just foolishness. They really don't have good sense if they will waste their time like that. At the end of their life, when they're taking their last few gasping breaths, they're going to think about all the time that they wasted and all of the hours that they spent trolling people and aggravating people on YouTube. It ain't going to be worth it. I never said that he called himself he called Yahweh the devil. John chapter 8, I'll read it for you because we done already read that too. People bounce in here, don't listen to nothing that's going on, and then want to come in and have so much. John chapter 8, hold on. I'm going to start around verse 42. Yeshua said to them, if Elohim were your father, you would love me, for I came from Elohim and I am here. I came not of my own accord, but he sent me. Why do you not understand what I say? It is because you cannot bear to hear my word. You are of your father the devil, and your will is to do your father's desires. He was a murderer from the beginning and does not stand in the truth because there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks out of his own character, for he is a liar and the father of lies. But because I tell the truth, you do not believe me. That part. And if we want to go back over here earlier, well, I'm glad. I hope you learned something. You said you was flogged, you had to flee. Okay, I don't know about that, but now if you go over here to Revelation, in Revelation 3, and you got to remember again, well, if you're just coming up on this live stream, we've been at this for almost 3 hours. Yahweh hates humanity, always has, from the days of him being called Enlil all the way down till now. He hates humanity. He's not going to do nothing good for humans, okay? You said no. He wasn't talking to the Pharisees, Luca. He was talking to the Jews. He was not talking to the Pharisees. He was talking to the same Jews that he had been talking to all the rest of John, when they was following him and he was teaching and they was talking and all of that. Go back and actually read this. Alice, if you think it's blasphemy, get up off of the channel. That's all you got to do, boo. That's all you got to do. He was not talking to the Pharisees and he was not talking to the devil. He said, you worship your father, the devil. He was not talking to the devil. These people are so bound in their ignorance. They will continue to do that. Yeshua said that they will continue to hold on to that lie all the way down into the pit. Oh, cool. Yeah, time him out, make him permanently invisible. He really ain't got nothing to do. That let me know I'm on the right track then. Sorry, people. It's after 11 o'clock, so the freaks have come out. So y'all that had real questions, I'm so sorry. We were having a good conversation. But yeah, it's time for us to go because this is around the time when the real haters start coming out and our conversations aren't really going much because we're going to spend too much time blocking their nonsense. So what I will do is I hopefully tomorrow, I'm not sure if I'll be able to come on tomorrow evening. Hopefully I'll be able to do tarot in the morning, I think, on that other channel. And if I am able to get done with that early enough, I'll be here tomorrow evening. If not, it'll be Tuesday evening, but we will come back into the live stream, and do look for it around between 7 and 8 in the evening. That seems to be working out well for us. But yeah, after 11, they just start getting weirder and weirder. So I have to I'm not being hostile towards you. I'm sitting here trying to tell you the truth, and you steadily arguing back with some nonsense, saying things that I did not say. I never said that Yeshua was the devil. I did not. Yeshua told the Jews that they were worshiping the devil. Yeshua was not promoting Yahweh worship. If you genuinely studied your Bible and you understood some of the other ancient texts, you would know that. If you come in with Sunday school religiosity, you'll never learn the truth. And if you don't open your mind and close your mouth or fingers long enough to hear what I'm saying, then you won't understand that. And if you feel like I'm being hostile, then I'm so sorry. I'm not being hostile, but I don't have time to waste for people that don't genuinely want to hear this. There's plenty of folks I don't have to convince nobody of nothing. I'm trying to teach people that are ready to hear what I have to say. I'm not out trying to convince people that want to keep clinging to Yahweh to turn him loose. If you want to cling to him, cling to him. The scriptures say that a third of the population of the earth will be destroyed right behind the devil. The blood will run however many furlongs high in the street at the end of Armageddon. So it does acknowledge that a lot of people that have been bamboozled and lied to and tricked by Babylon the Great, the harlot, that they will not turn loose their ways, that they will continue to follow that dragon right on down into the pit. That's your choice. We surely will. We absolutely will. And I'm very confident in what I'm doing because, like I said, Yeshua is my main guide, Luca. We will find out. But that's why I continue to teach, because I'm teaching what Yeshua taught. I'm not continuing to believe into the lies. And truthfully, Christianity has only been around for 1,700 years. And this Bible has only been around for 500. It's extremely arrogant for Christians to think they got all the be-all, end-all answers for something that's this new, when all of the other ancient texts go back thousands and thousands and thousands of years, but they don't want to listen to that. They'd rather cling to this. Like, do you, boo? Anyway, appreciate all of y'all. Have a great evening. We will get up later, and have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your evening. Until next time, peace and blessings to you. I love you. Namaste. You said what? I don't know what you're talking about.